All right, today is Wednesday, May 25th, and we're back. We got an awesome episode coming up. 2 electric interviews on the back half with Texas A&M legends John Doxakis and Braden Shewmake, and then after them, it's a double 2-time series. We have David Rush, who, if you don't know David Rush, he's like a world record decathlete. The dude's a machine. He has like 250 world records. He used to have 251, but Schnell broke one of them, and we talk about that. But I'm joined by always Nick Schnell, Grayson Shook. This is Diamonds in the Rough, brought to you by Prospects Live. And today we do want to talk about something though that I know Schnell is very familiar with. If you are an outdoorsman, if you are a baseball player, if you're just a fan of music in general, you probably don't have the best speaker in the game, and that is Turtle Box Audio. If you have, I have a Turtle Box on the way. Schnelly has one. Shook's gonna get one. It's elite. Schnell, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, me and my family, whenever they're over, automatically the Turtle Box is being used. The audio is, no joke, the best audio I've ever heard out of a speaker. It's we have a pool, and so if it fell in the pool, it's completely waterproof. When I go hunting, it comes with me, and it's all around 10 out of 10 speaker.
What's great about it too is it looks cool. Like the way it's built is sick. It's not just like some stereo studio looking speaker. Like it's got a cool design, different colors. You can go on their website, check it out. If you do go on their website, use DNR 15, all caps, DNR 15, get 15% off. And like Schnell said, this thing is completely waterproof. I mean, if you're at the beach and you get bored, you can chunk it out in the ocean and let your dog go fetch. I mean, it's
literally
completely waterproof. They have so many built-in features. You can look on their website, and they love baseball. It should be in every baseball locker room. Love the outdoors. Great company.
I like it so much that I have the Gen 1. I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy the Gen 2 just because it's –
And if you do that, they compare together. You compare two at the same time. You can put one on one side of the pool, one on the other.
And I can promise you, if you pair them together, you can put one in your front yard and your backyard, and the whole neighborhood will be able to hear what you were playing.
Yeah, they're elite. So go check that out. Use our discount code. Let us know when you do. And shout them out as well. Like I said, we got a lot to get into this episode. Slam packed full. Let's roll.
Get it down to the neon lights. It's where I want to be because I'm just trying to make it.
You're listening to the Diamonds in the Rough podcast.
I'm just trying to make it.
Powered by Prospects Live.
All right, we'll kick this episode off with something that I find absurd. I don't know if you listeners will or not, but we're about to start the podcast about 15 minutes ago. Schnelly's MIA. He's completely MIA. Haven't heard from him in a while. So I call him, no answer, and then I'm about to leave and go do something else. We just pushed the start time back. He texts and said he's been asleep. The dude slept from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The most outrageous time, 1 time for a nap and 2 time period for a nap. That's like that gives a whole new meaning to power nap.
We played 10 innings today because we had extra pitching. My body's built for 9. That extra inning took it out of me. Also, I told them I was nursing a pretty bad headache, and I get like really, really bad headaches, like bad headaches. And I felt I was dehydrated, so I took some Tylenol and chugged 2 waters before I fell asleep. So that's pretty much why I started the nap. I probably could have stayed up, but I literally can't stand when my head hurts.
So it was a headache combatant.
Yeah. So I literally just took a nap. I woke up. I felt a little bit better. But, like, I was on the verge of having a stage 10 headache.
So, I mean, a lot of people would say that naps are completely unproductive, but technically you won a matchup there. Like, you defeated headache.
No, I 100% did.
So that would be productive.
Yeah. I sent headaches to the shadow realm.
Nice. That kind of brings up something I've been wanting to talk about that's on my mind a lot. So you're in the middle of sleep. You wake up, you see it's light outside. You check your phone, and you're like looking to see how much longer you have to sleep. I want to know what you guys, and for the public as well, what is your wake up window? Like when you look at the time on your phone, how much distance away from your alarm are you going back to sleep, and how close does it have to be for you just to get up then?
I always sleep to my alarm. This might be crazy, but I don't look at my phone until I wake up. So like if I wake up and see it's light out, I just go back to sleep because my alarm hadn't gone off.
Really?
Yeah, I don't check.
What if it's in like 5 minutes?
Then I wake up in 5 minutes. Okay. And usually I have I'm a psycho. I have 5 alarms set.
Right. Yeah, I do too. I mean, that's not psycho.
No, but I'm saying if I have to be up at 7, say we got to be at the field at 8, I usually give myself 30 minutes, 15 minutes in the morning. If I'm going to shower before I go, 30 minutes. If I'm going to just get up and go, if I showered the night before, then I'll give myself 15. But I'll set an alarm for 7:25, 7:28, 7:30, 7:32, 7:35.
Yeah, but is that just out of in case one doesn't ring, or is that because you sleep through all of them?
I don't sleep through them. I know that I'll go back to sleep after one. So I need every 2 minutes it waking me up. But I've gotten better about waking up and just getting right out of bed. Alarm goes off, get out of bed. That's the easiest way to do it.
Not really. I mean, when I have an alarm, I'm pretty good about. Sometimes it'll go off a lot. It really just depends on the kind of sleep I get. So, if I go to bed early, and say I have a 6:45 alarm or something, and I go to bed at 11, then I'll be up for it.
You're chilling.
If I go to bed at 12:31, then that's where it gets dicey.
I guess maybe I'm the freak here because number one, when my alarm goes off, I'm up. I cannot go back to sleep once I'm up. So I do have a window. That's why I bring this up. If I wake up, and I see that, and I feel like it's pretty close to the time for me to wake up, and I look at my phone, and it's an hour or more, auto back to sleep. For sure, I'm back to sleep. If it's within an hour, in between an hour and 45 minutes, it's a complete judgment call. Sometimes if I'm just crushed, I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to go back to sleep real quick. Usually I can't. Usually I'm sitting there thinking about it now I only have 40 minutes left. Now I only have 35 minutes left. But sometimes I just crash. If it's within 30, I'm up. And the reason for that is because as well as I do, both of you, that if you wake up on your own, you feel so much better than if you wake up by an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, I just feel like it's counterproductive. Okay, maybe I can add on 20 minutes of sleep here, but I'm also going to be drowsy when I wake up. So I was just wondering if anybody else had that same system or not.
Yeah, I can agree with that too, because if I wake up and I know my alarm hasn't gone off yet, then I'm the worst about going back to sleep and sleeping through the alarm.
Yeah, and dude, it's it doesn't matter what time you wake up. You could wake up at 5:30 in the morning, but if it's on your own, you're feeling pretty good. Especially that's going to catch up to you if you wake up that early. But for the first couple of hours, you're feeling great.
And I'm not saying I haven't ever woken up and looked at my phone. I would say I'm 50-50, for the most part. This is weird, but here in Florida, I have a really good sense of when I wake up, what time it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's
I think that's just when you sleep in the same room for consistently.
Yeah, because I woke up this morning. I would say out of a week, 2 or 3 times I'll check my phone before my alarm goes off. But I normally wake up within I never wake up an hour before unless I'm sleeping bad. If I'm just getting bad sleep. If I'm getting good sleep, I either sleep till my alarm goes off or it's literally down to 5 minutes. And I'll just close my eyes until it goes off. I probably won't fall back asleep, but I'll close my eyes until that 5 minutes is up and then I'll get up.
Yeah, no, I feel that. That was a completely random conversation, but it's been on my mind for a while. So, yeah.
Well, hey, this is a good segue. You just got freaking body bagged, I think, on Twitter, so we can talk about that. The dude tried to come back at you.
Well, he did earlier.
Oh no, he's talking to somebody else.
You talking about Brooksy?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my boy. No, that's
he body bagged someone else.
Yeah. He played right field in T-ball, and we all know it. That is a body bag.
Hey, you know it's a body bag when the dude goes, someone had to pick the grass out there. That's like embarrassing.
Forfeit. That's a forfeit.
Yeah.
No, okay. So let's stay on that because I tweeted out earlier what, in my opinion, is the worst rule in sports. And I think a lot of people agree. I think it's ridiculous. The drop third strike. Especially when 0-2 count, you execute a slider in the dirt, catcher blocks it up in front of him. That's an out. That's an out all day.
No hitter ever wants to run.
Never.
Either.
No, that's
Ever.
embarrassing. That's actually embarrassing. So I tweet that out. This guy comes at, because I said in the video, hitter doesn't want to run, and pitcher, you win the at-bat, which is a hard thing to do, and you want the out. This guy comes back and says, yeah, pitching's real hard. You win 70% of the at-bats. I'm like, all right, let's talk about this, because some people say that a lot. Like, if hitting's the hardest thing to do in baseball, then what's pitching? Or in the world, then what's pitching? Like, yeah, if you're saying, I'm going to get you out, like one at-bat, the odds are way in the pitcher's favor. But you have to look at it as how a pitcher is evaluated. This guy said that the pitcher wins 70% of the at-bats. Okay, yeah, that's true. And that sounds like a large number. But like I combated with him, I said, if a pitcher has a 300 on-base percentage against, that's horrible. Like, that's awful. So, yeah, in mathematics, 70% is a huge number. In terms of pitching, it's not a huge number. It's literally the worst number. So, like, yeah, it's in broad terms, sure, pitching is easy. You get one out. That's easy. But in how you're evaluated and in the way you're judged, it's hard.
Like, it's also like pitching isn't easy. Like,
no, pitching in itself, it's number one, it's like the worst thing you can do for your body.
And like consistently throwing, I guess being good at pitching, I get like him saying, like,
right,
I don't
being
know, being good.
That's
like
the
throwing 95 with an absolute banger and a good changeup and being able to throw them all for a strike. Like, you can throw a pitch over a plate, but can you throw it with velocity in different spots and get a hitter out?
Well, that's the thing. Like, that all goes into how you're evaluated. Like, if you do all those things well, then you're going to have good numbers based on pitching. It's like hitter. A good number for a hitter is 300 average. That's 3 out of 10. Like that in a vacuum, that stinks. In baseball, that's elite. Yeah. So yeah, that guy was barking up the wrong tree there. But I've heard that multiple times. He tried to come back at me after I said that back to him, and he completely contradicted himself to the point where I think he realized it and deleted it. He said, well, yeah, you're using that number. That puts you in the bottom 10% of pitchers in the league. I was like, exactly, my boy. And
I can't believe you're arguing with a dude that has 3 followers.
Dude, I said on this podcast, I'm going to engage with you on Twitter. Like, that's part of our deal. We're for the fans.
That's fair.
And I wasn't even really trying to argue with him. I was just trying to, like, because I've always felt that when people say something like that. Like, yeah, sure. It's easy in a broad term, but the way pitchers evaluate is not easy. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that out there publicly. I wasn't going to I wasn't going to reply again. It was just one reply. The next one was nonsense, and he figured it out and deleted it. But I mean, listen, I'm always down for a good sports argument. Always. I've been defending Matt Ryan like he's my son. So
he's my son now.
Yeah,
he was your son. Now he's mine.
Goat. But yeah, that's also, speaking of Twitter, I have what I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but an electric thread. I was at the Lipscomb Kennesaw State game today, and this is the first time I've sat in the stands in like a real baseball game. I can't even tell you last time. Maybe the Georgia game like 2 off seasons ago. Man, baseball fans are awesome. I just said a thread of like my favorite things I heard while sitting there. It was great. The best one, and I was trying not to laugh because I've played in Florida long enough to know when a ball's hit, it carries here. Like it gets out, especially like around this time of year. Once it gets to summer, a little different, but like right now, you get it, it's gone. This dude smokes one in the first inning. I mean, complete barrel, dead center almost, just a little bit right center. and a guy yells out, "We got a guy." I'm like, buddy, there ain't nobody getting that one. It is 25 feet over the fence. It was an absolute nuke. But yeah, it was great. If you haven't seen the thread, go check it out. It's good stuff.
The ball was not flying today here. Marino hit a ball so hard, and it was funny. He freaking pimped it. And like the short part of the fence in left field? Yeah. It got hit there, and the right fielder almost had a play on it. Like, it didn't carry as far as it was going, and he pimped it. And you just hear every coach, every coordinator, every person who's not a player in the dugout yelling, "Run, run, run." And I was just laughing. He did not. He literally walked halfway to first, flipped the bat, and then jogged the slowest trot around the base that I've ever seen. It was it's sick when you can pimp a home run. I've never been able to. I've hit balls that I could have pimped, but I freaking don't realize it.
Yeah.
I realize it when I'm halfway down the line because I'm so like hit and run. Like maybe 2 steps out, and then it's not cool because the bat's in my hand, not in my hand. So I can just jog, which is freaking lame.
Yeah, the people that hit it and think about it, like that takes a little bit of practice. Because even in high school, I hit one, and afterwards I'm like, I knew that was gone. I still ran.
Yeah.
I pimped one time, and it was a ground rule double. I literally hit it, and I thought I got all of it. Dude, and I circle second, and the guy was hitting in front of me was on third. And I get halfway to third. Like because I look up, I don't watch the ball. I hit it, pimp it for a minute, then run. When I look up, it's rolling past the fence. So I turn second, go on the way to third, and the guy at third's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's just standing there, and he's like, "Dude, it's a double." I was like, "No chance." Yeah, pimp the double. That's the only pimp job I did. It looked sick, though. Should shout out Raleigh Lewis, who used to do our videos and put a hype video at the end of the year. She put it in there, me pimping it, but it was a double.
It didn't help that we played in a graveyard either.
Yeah, our field's massive.
Yeah, see, our field, I pimped a couple in high school, but our field is an absolute boombox.
I mean, we haven't even talked yet, Schnell. How'd the game go today?
1 for 4 with the triple. The first guy we faced was a big league rehabber and threw me an inside fastball to start the game, and then threw me a middle fastball, and I hit a freaking linea so hard that the left fielder took an angle at it, and it was past him. It just rolled to the fence. I crushed it. It was like right over the shortstop's head. Like he jumped, and it was like an inch above his glove, and it just freaking rolled. Yeah.
Somebody yell, "We got a guy"?
No, there was nobody to catch that ball. It was
that's good. So you're still tearing it up. Your OPS here has to be outrageous.
I think I'm 9 for 20 with 4 walks. So that would make
you have like 3 jacks, 2 doubles, and a triple.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been swinging.
No ground balls, kids.
Yeah, no, do not hit the ball on the ground. I think two of my base hits have been on the ground. And that's it. And then I haven't hit a ball on the ground other than those 2. And I wouldn't count one of those as a ground ball. I would say that was like a low liner.
Yeah. Yeah, you're swinging it well right now.
Yeah, but I also did K backwards twice. So, but in my defense, the TrackMan had 2 of the strikes and one of my at bats is balls. So it would have been a 3-1 count. So I probably would have hit a homer. So really, if you think about it, the other one, I didn't commit to my approach. I always think look fastball away, but I thought he was going to try and come in on me. And in the back of my head, I thought in, and he threw me a fastball away, and I took it. And it was a good pitch. He painted it on the outside corner. But the second at bat, I got screwed. That was another rehab guy too, and I was freaking taking good pitches, waiting for him to freaking throw me one right down the middle so I could hit a double in the gap. And then the umpire decided that it was his day to shine. So I said, you know what? I'll let you have this one. I also kind of doinked one in the outfield. Not really, but there was a ball that was hit like right center, but way closer to center field than to right. And I took a really good angle on it. So I played right today, not center. First time I played a corner outfield in Lord knows how long. And I took a really good angle to it, but I tried to cut it off too much. So the ball, I tried to get my body around it and cut it pretty tightly.
Going forward.
Yeah. And I just didn't like. I almost cut it off too much, kind of like the kid did to mine, and it got past my glove. But it was right center, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Like Castellanos was right behind me, and they had a runner on second. The runner on second didn't even score, so it didn't end up being that big of a deal. And it really didn't bother me either. But if I would have done that like a year ago, I would have been so mad. But for some reason, I was just like, wow. Like
you just have a new perspective after having a child. Really.
Yeah,
you're a father now.
Yeah, and
nothing can beat you. Not even a headache.
No, not it couldn't.
Yeah, beautiful. I was just reminded by what went down. I think it was last week. We were watching Tennessee, Georgia at the house. Me and Schnell. And we
2 weekends ago.
Yeah, I guess it was 2 weekends ago. So we had Kyle Peterson on. A lot of y'all haven't heard that one yet, but we'll get it out at some point because it was a really good one. And he was talking about how he checks his phone when he's on the broadcast. And he was on the broadcast of this game we were watching. And so we told him on the interview, like, we're going to tweet him out something to say. So I tweeted at him. I said, hey, KP, use the phrase wake and rake on this broadcast. And listen, KP is a professional. He did not disappoint. So I'll let you listen to it right now.
Something Tennessee does very much. I mean, this is a team that wake up, they're ready to rake. What a go.
Yeah, it was sick. He waited till the dang ninth inning to do it too. Like we were waiting there all game. We're like, dang,
there were a couple good opportunities for him to freaking throw it in there too. And I was like, what is he? Come on.
Yeah, he must have checked his phone pretty late and then he threw it in there and it was sick. It was really like the most exciting moment I've had in a little bit. Yeah. So that was cool. Shout out KP. He's the man. We'll do it again. We'll make it a little harder next time. I'm thinking like maybe use the word banana in a broadcast. Something that's kind of away from baseball. You've got to incorporate. Make it tougher on you, Kyle.
Use the word ludicrous in a freaking.
I think that's easier than banana.
Yeah, actually, ludicrous wouldn't be hard for baseball.
No. What else we got? Okay, yeah, this is a good one. So we also had a former guest of ours, Mark Appel, who, if you listen to the interview, he is like top-notch human being.
I mean, he is
20 to 80 scale. He's an 80.
Yeah, he's an 85. He's round one, literally, and as a person, he's round one, pick one human being.
Yeah, legitimately round one.
And then he literally was a round one, pick one human being.
Like the dude's perspective on life after what he's gone through is incredible. We wanted to go get dinner with him one night. I don't think it ever really worked out, but he was just awesome to talk to. Great interview because, I mean, it's crazy how much sports and life kind of connect. Like that's a lot of people don't really understand that, and what he's gone through, you really see it. But obviously, most of y'all know he took a year away from baseball, comes back this last year to make a reappearance, and he's what 28 now, probably 29. He is shoving this year. I saw an article that was talking about like, all right,
he might be 30.
We're officially on Mark Appel watch. Like he's got I'm pulling up his numbers now, but there's a real chance he gets called up, which will be like I'll be just as excited for his call up as I can't say as mine because I've never had it, but like I will be fired up to watch him pitch in the big leagues. He currently has 18 innings, a 2 ERA. He's punched out 15 and 18, 6 walks in 18 innings. The dude's shoving. He is in AAA, so like he ain't doing it in low A, folks. This is a step below the big leagues. He got a 2. So yeah, we're officially on Mark Appel watch, and I'm pretty fired up about it.
Turns 31 in July.
That's sick.
I was gonna say, I thought
literally as soon as the interview ended, we were kind of sitting here and nobody really said anything, and I was like, I legitimately want to see this guy pitch in the big leagues, like bad.
Yeah.
And everybody, we were all like, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
legitimately, he's one. Like, I feel like you can say it about a lot of people, but like this, he is literally like one of the best humans I've ever met. Like he just had another Twitter thread. Did you see his most recent Twitter thread?
I haven't seen his most recent one.
He had a recent one that went off too, and he kind of talked about like everything he went through, like mental health wise in baseball, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, like he's gonna be a motivational speaker when he's done playing, and he's gonna write books.
He should.
Yeah, he will for sure. No doubt about it. Last thing I want to talk about before we get over to interviews, because they are sick. We got, like today, I was at college baseball game, and we got regionals coming up, which regionals are in college baseball. For those of you who don't really follow college baseball and watch college baseball, it has one of the best postseasons of any sport. Softball and baseball college, it's awesome. Like you go to a regional, it's a 4-team tournament. Double elimination. You make it out of that, you go to a super regional, which is against another team, a 3-game series, and then you go to the College World Series, which is 8 teams. It's really cool, and being a part of it was awesome. We got smacked, but it was still sick, and it's a fun time of the year because they have the selection show. Like it's really cool. So if you haven't tuned in all year, you need to tune in now. It's some really cool stuff.
Who were your 3 to?
Yeah,
to
that's
win?
what I want to talk about this. So my 3 was Tennessee. I was on them from the start. So all y'all out there can give me some credit. I do know ball. That don't mean they're going to go, but they are nasty. I had Arkansas, who's another host, and I had Georgia, who's slowly fading, but they're going to be a 2 seed, so they got a chance.
Shoot, I forget mine.
Mine was awful. I don't even remember what mine was. I think I had Texas, maybe Florida
I
State.
think I had Texas, maybe.
You
I think
definitely
I
had Texas, Schnell.
I had Louisville and Texas. I remember I had Louisville.
Louisville started off terrible, but they're like
top.
they won the
10.
ACC. Yeah.
I think they're 6th or 7th.
Look,
right
ACC's loaded this year, huh? They're going to get 11 teams.
La Tech is 2nd. Miami 6th.
Notre Dame might host.
7th.
Yeah, so I was watching the North Carolina State Wake Forest before I got on, and they said on that broadcast that they could set the record for most teams in the tournament, which is 11, or it's 10. They did it in 2016, and they got a shot at getting 11. I think they have 10 teams in the top 40 in the RPI, so kind of nuts.
What really helps them too is SEC's pretty down.
Yeah,
like it's pretty top heavy, but it's not as deep as it usually is.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, the ACC kind of got screwed a little bit, right? Like none of the bubble teams made it.
Yeah, and then you had NC State and Virginia ended up making it to the World Series. I still think NC State should have won at least gotten an opportunity to compete in the
COVID
championship.
But yeah, I want to talk about one regional projection I saw, which if you're from the state of Georgia, you're going to realize how crazy this is.
I saw this too earlier.
It was Statesboro hosting, which is Georgia Southern, Georgia as a 2 seed, and Georgia Tech as a 3 seed. That would be nuts. Like I played in a lot of big college stadiums, and nothing compares to Duty Noble at Mississippi State. It was unbelievable. But low key, the most raucous crowd I ever played in front of was in Statesboro, Georgia, on a Wednesday night. They had dollar beers, and they were going nuts. And it's like, in Georgia Southern's field, it feels like you're like down. Like it feels like it's like a mound around you, like there's like a hills around you. And
like you're in the Coliseum.
Yeah, like it feels like you are down there and the fans are right on top of you. And if you know anything about Georgia Southern, you know people don't go there for school. I mean, no disrespect to Georgia Southern, but that place is known. I mean, I got some buddies went to Georgia Southern, and trust me, they didn't go for school. Like they get after it. And then Georgia Tech's a good team. I forget who the 4 seed was, but
it was Kennesaw State.
Was it?
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
No, it was somebody out of state. It was somebody out of state, but it was still a pretty good one. Anyway, that is a regional I'm pulling for. That would be awesome. I hope they do it because it's kind of falling in line. Georgia's going to be a 2, probably. Georgia Tech. I don't really know where Georgia Tech is. I know they blew like an 8-run lead today, so I don't know where.
Timmy Barrels is crushing it.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech's a very good team.
Well, they can hit. They freaking.
They got a dude on the.
It was Campbell was the other team.
Player of the year watch.
Yeah, the catcher. The catcher's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He did be a top 2 pick. He breaks. Georgia Tech spits out catchers. Yeah.
2 rounds or top 2?
No,
like 2,
no.
1, 2.
He's 1, 2.
Really? I haven't even looked at like mock drafts or anything. And who's
he bangs.
Good.
There's a lot of high school guys projected up top, but
yeah, this dude.
I know Drew Jones and like Tamar Johnson or something like that. Those
Elijah Green as well.
Yeah, those are the 3 big.
Are all 3 of those guys Georgia dudes?
Elijah Green he goes to IMG. I don't know where he's originally from, but
Tamar and Drew are though, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know if
We're a factory.
Was.
We're a factory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love college baseball regionals, even the conference tournament. Like I've always said, pitching at Hoover in the SEC tournament was probably the most fun place I've pitched at to date. But it should be exciting. It should be, I would assume, Monday.
Yeah, it's on Memorial Day Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Tennessee's a wagon. Virginia Tech's
Is
good.
Texas even going to make a regional?
Yeah, I think they're gonna make a regional, but they did slump hard. Listen, here's the formula in college
they're
baseball.
ranked 19th. They're gonna make one.
The formula in college baseball, and I think they're followed along with it. Hot,
cold, and then on fire.
Hot. Yeah. Tennessee's been hot all year. That's dangerous. And I'm worried for my boys in Athens because they've got cold at the end. They had a brutal stretch on the schedule, which is tough. I mean, they went to LSU, home against Andy, to Tennessee, back-to-back weekends. So it kind of killed some momentum, but, I mean, they got a good lineup. And I've always said, in a regional, you've got to hit out of a regional. Like that, there's just so many. You're not going to have – most teams don't have enough pitching to win 4 games in a row like that. So you're gonna have to hit. There's going to be some high-scoring games. And then the super is when pitching wins. Like it's a 3-game series, what you're used to. So you got to be pretty – like – you got to be a deep team to get to the College World Series. Like there's not many flukes that get there. So it's going to be exciting. It's a whole lot of fun. There needs to be. I wish it was like college football though, where it was on all stations. Like it would be cool. It would be really cool if it was broadcasted like that. Because
it'd be sick.
I don't know what happens in the regional, especially in Athens. Shook, you saw it that day. It turns into a rec field. Like the balls are flying. Are they not?
I don't know if I upset you when I asked you about that. I was like, man, does this play like this all year?
Yeah,
but it was like, holy cow! Like even in the Mercer game or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, it was flying out of that place.
Yeah, I don't know if they change balls. I don't know what they do, but during the regional, it's been back-to-back years that Georgia's hosted now. We've led the freaking country in home runs at that regional. And Georgia's never a team that hits that many jacks. But I remember that first game against Florida State and FAU. I think there was 12 home runs hit.
That was a 13-7 game or something like that.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, here we go again. So, yeah, everybody tune in. It's electric. College baseball is electric. And college softball is going on right now. Regionals were sick.
Super
put
sick.
me on it. I watched the chicks from my hometown, UTC. They went to Bama, put up a really good fight. They were in the game, and they brought in Montana Fouts, and it was like lights out.
It was over, wasn't it?
Lights
it was
out.
Over.
She was throwing gas. There was one that read 76 on the screen. I don't know if it was a misread or what. She was mostly 72, 73, but she popped the 76, which translates to 107 in baseball. So it was unfair. Like she was throwing gas.
Yeah.
Gasoline.
Montana Fouts, if you would like to come on Diamonds in the Rough, please.
Yeah, I flung her a DM. We'll see. What
Open
happens.
invitation to come on the pod.
Yeah, I would. We need to set up a Montana Fouts versus Schnell at bat.
Oh wow,
that would be awesome. I mean, it sets you up for failure, but even if you strike out, it's still Montana.
I would never.
Remember those videos of
This is not a good idea.
This
is not a good idea. I will freaking. I will. She could pitch on a baseball field, and I'll hit a softball out of a baseball field.
I'm absolutely clipping this.
Here we go.
Dead central over the batter's eye.
We should
have a big time showdown if she comes.
Absolutely will.
Yeah.
She's got to be from Bama somewhere. That's not far from me. We'll go. We'll go to her.
She's from Grayson, Kentucky, which I believe.
That's
it's in the same state as Bowling Green.
That's close.
That's literally.
I'll drive up there. We'll do it for a bachelor party.
We can meet her halfway.
That would be elite. I would like to step in just to see it, because I talked to one of my best friends, Reagan Armour, and she was like, "I've literally never seen a ball go that fast in my life." Hey, but she smacked a single into center.
She did.
No big deal. No big deal.
It was crazy when she came in the game, and it was like 3 days late. Everybody, which she came in against the bottom of the order, so that's probably part of it. But they didn't stand a chance.
It didn't matter. It was straight heat. It was like you can see was hanging around, got some base runners, was right there in it, and then they pulled the starter and brought her in. I was like, well,
Here's the question: do I get one AB?
we can talk about
We'll
it.
do a best of 3, best of
We
7.
got to bring her on the. We got to
I
bring
think
her on the show.
10
and talk
ABs,
about it.
and then I mean 3 hits is
That would be awesome.
beast mode.
That would be awesome. Did you ever see the video of Jenny Finch pitching to like Albert Pujols and all that?
Yeah, I did see that. I also think it's unfair though if I got 10 at bats in a row. If you see the same person 10 times in a row,
No, you wouldn't get 10.
Yeah.
Well, we're absolutely going to set this up for you to fail. That's where it's going to be, so you can defy the odds. Like there's absolutely no chance I'm going to set this up with you having an advantage.
I don't need it.
All right, let's get over the interviews. Awesome ones coming up. A lot of good baseball stuff in the first one. Literally stuff I've never heard in my entire life. And as we said at the beginning, use code DNR15 on Turtle Box Audio to get 15% off. Follow them on all social platforms as well. They do a really good job posting some content. Other than that, just stay sparkling. All right, we now welcome on to Texas A&M legends, lefty John Doxakis and shortstop Braden Shewmake. Docs with the Rays, Shoes with the Braves. Boys, what's going on?
Not a lot. Nice off day, enjoying it. Trying to do
Yeah.
as much as I can. Stay away from the field as long as I can.
Yeah.
We're there all day, every day. So
Same here, but
Docs,
off day would be nice. In this league, we don't get one. You know, we're always traveling. We got long bus rides. So your off days are spent just BSing with the team on the bus and hoping it doesn't break down.
yeah, I heard y'all ran into some of that today.
Yeah, a little bit of a flat tire 30 minutes outside of Greensboro, but we made it work. Got the whole team to
Did
the
you guys
team
walk the
tour.
rest of the way?
I don't know. My bus was working. Seth got stuck on the bad one. So I think the guy brought us here and then went back and picked them up. So they're about an hour behind us.
How long was the off-day bus trip?
Supposed to be 8, turned into 10.
Yeah, that's one way to spend a Monday right there. That is brutal. What? You said Greensboro?
Yeah, Greensboro, North Carolina, or with the Pirates.
Is that the furthest trip in the league or no?
I'm not sure. Well, we went to Brooklyn. But we flew there. That was nice. Then actually, we went to Wilmington after that and took a train out of Manhattan, but had the wires were down in the city, so the trains weren't working. So we sat in the train station for 6 hours. But it was a good experience, man. It's definitely a lot different up there. But it was cool to see and play on Coney Island.
Who said the Rays don't spend money getting y'all flights?
Yeah, we're flying in Hyatt. Sick.
No, I think it was the Smitty talked to the GM of the Hot Rods, and he did it all for us. Because I think the Hot Rods pay for all our travel, is what it sounded like.
Hot Rods are high rolling.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the owner of our team owns the Louisville Bats too.
Wow. Yeah, he
So
can afford it.
Big minor league guy. Haven't met him yet,
Okay.
but he took the whole staff out to a steak dinner in Brooklyn, and we were like, "Oh, what about us? Come on now."
Yeah. If y'all hear John crackling a bit, he's on that Days Inn Wi-Fi right now in Greensboro.
La Quinta.
La Quinta Inn Wi-Fi. Shout out to them. So I guess we'll start where it all began at A&M. They're kind of rolling right now. And when I talked to Doc earlier in the year, he didn't really know what to think of the team. But, I mean, they're like 4th RPI right now.
Bro, it's something crazy. And I was the same way. I talked to John about it, too. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be all that good, to be completely honest with you. I said that, too. But whatever they've done, they figured it out. Because they're pitching it, and they're swinging the heck out of it. That's for sure. So, whatever they're doing.
It's funny. I was talking to Coach Childress the other day, and we were just talking about hitting. I was like, "Yeah, it'd be nice if we could have a team hit over 240 when we were all there. You know, we might have done some damage, and
we might have done something."
We shared some laughs about it, but it was funny. And then just seeing them hit the ball now, it's impressive. I don't think anyone's hitting it like them in the country right now, besides Tennessee. But they've been hitting it all year.
Yeah, it's a lineup. I remember when they beat Texas early in the year, and everybody acted like it was like a big upset, you know. But I mean, they're just like looking back now, they're just better than Texas. They've kind of fell off a little bit, and A&M's rolling.
Yeah, dude, like I said, I didn't see this coming, not even in the slightest. Didn't see this coming, but the boys are hot right now.
They are. They're rolling.
If you'd have told me that they would be sitting in the spot that they're in now going into the last week in conference, I'd have told you were flat out crazy.
Yeah. But it's good to see. It's good to see. It's good for it's good for baseball in College Station.
So were you guys roommates back in the day?
Our freshman year.
Yeah, we were. He's probably. I think he was the first guy I met when I rolled onto campus.
Yep. Freshman year, we rolled into the dorm. Walk in there. I'm moving my stuff in. My parents are helping me move some of my stuff in. Say, hey, Mom and Dad, I got to go. We got a team meeting right here. All right. So I leave. I end up finding this out later. There's a Yeti in the corner, right? This is Doc's Yeti's in the
Shocker.
corner.
Doc has a Yeti.
I knew it. I knew he had a Yeti over there. But anyway, so I leave. I find this out later. But my mom walks over. She's like, oh, look, cool Yeti. She opens it, and it is just stacked. She's like, oh, okay. All right, whatever. So they go to put some stuff in the freezer. They open it up, and she said there's like 5 bottles in there, too. She was like, oh, my goodness. She said she looked at my dad and was like, are we going to have to talk to him at all? And my dad was like, nah, he'll be fine. Just let it be.
Well, I remember your mom asking about the beer signs, too. I was like, well, this is college, you know? Isn't this what it's supposed to be like?
It's what I told her, too. She was like, you're right. I'm not going to argue with you.
Hey, we had fun, but it was controlled. We never did anything stupid.
Yeah, sure you didn't.
Yeah, that's debatable.
Never. Yeah, that's a strong word right there. So
Club One
y'all
was
coming
hot.
as freshmen together.
Club
Yeah,
One
we
was
did
hot.
call it Club One. It's funny because we were in 1901, but the 1, 9, and 0 were all ripped off. Not by us, just when we got there. And we were like, oh, shoot, we'll call it Club One.
That was the place to be, huh?
For the
Especially
freshmen.
in the summer.
Yeah. So y'all get to go through it all together, like first fall, and obviously y'all are both there 3 years, so y'all had plenty of fall battles, which everyone knows are the best. You know, fall ball can't beat fall ball. Who had the number in fall ball?
I'll speak on this one. Because every time she would be like, dude, your stuff is so disgusting. Throw a slider and then dirty bangs it off the wall. I'm like, I mean, this is just not. I never got him out once, but every time I was like, dude, your stuff's so good. I'm like, yeah, look, it looks real good right now.
Is that more depleting as a pitcher? Just like when somebody's like, dude, you're like, it's working today, but you're just getting banged all around.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's like a compliment to hear it from a hitter like Shewmake when you can never get him out. But that's how it was for any guy he hit off of. Is like, I mean, we'd be Brady Singer, Jackson Coar, Casey Mize, you name it. He might have one bad AB, but it's not going to happen again. He's going to square it up. So, I mean, I would win against Shewmake if it was a single. I counted that as a win. Like, if I can limit damage, you know, that's kind of how we approached it in those situations.
We also got to remember, this is the guy talking that we play in a semifinal game to get to the conference championship game, and it's Dox versus Casey Mize, and Dox has a no-hitter going through 7 1/3 now. This is the same guy talking here. So
Yeah,
don't let him fool you.
I tried to reach out. I told him, asked him what his favorite game in college was. I was gonna try to pull some video, and he said that one. But I couldn't find the full game. I just saw the highlights. But yeah, that had to feel pretty good, Docs, huh? Going toe to toe with Casey Mize.
Yeah. Well, it was just a whole thing of like freshman year. I started there freshman year in the SEC tournament, and we needed to win that game. It might have been against Missouri, and coach was like, yeah, we're giving you the ball. And I had a real shaky freshman year, and I go out there, first inning clean, second inning walk the first guy, get yanked. I'm like, oh, God, this isn't good. Because I had been walking a lot of guys. And I remember I hated pitching on that mound. It just seemed like you were throwing the ball a mile away, like the catcher was a mile away. And so I'm warming up before that game against Casey, and I didn't throw one strike, like nothing. And I'm like honestly kind of panicking, and I just got there and tried throwing everything as hard as I could. It worked out. And the biggest turning moment, because, you know, you get first 3 innings, adrenaline, 4th, 5th, like it's like, all right, I got to get through these to get to the late innings. And I don't remember what inning it was, but we hadn't hit Casey either. And I think Hellman got to second, and you ripped that ball down the line. It was like the gates finally opened, and we were like, shoot, we might be able to beat this guy. And
yeah, I think it was like the 6th inning or so. I think we had figured out how to maybe scratch one. I think we were up 1-0. And then I think I hit that ball down the line, and it was 3-0 at that point. And then we figured out they scored one late, but we were up 4-0 by that point, I think. So, well, it was back and forth, like you said. It was back and forth, just pitchers duel the whole way out. And then we ended up scratching one, and then the next inning we scratched two more. And then it was almost like you could look out in the field and be like, God, those guys aren't losing. Like with the guy they have on the mound, those guys aren't losing. Like
That's what it felt like. That's
get into another gear.
Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but I love playing at Hoover. Like, I thought just the atmosphere and just the whole tournament setting, I thought it was sick. It was one of my favorite places to play.
Yeah, I think
1,000%. I mean, especially when you're playing a team from Alabama, like that game against Auburn, the stands were packed. And I remember looking up there, and there's dudes on the concourse holding up no-hitter signs and stuff like that. Like, you have a no-hitter, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. Like, I think the only thing that can compete with that is maybe a Friday night game at Minute Maid when we play another Texas team. And that's it. But, yeah, Hoover was special just because – and you got to hang out with all the guys you competed against all year.
Yeah,
like, I know we all still have – yeah, I know we still all have friends from that. And you see those guys on the road and keep talking to them. And that's honestly the best part about it.
Well, that's about the only time Auburn fans can hold up signs like that because they didn't have to count very high to figure out how many hits were on the board.
Don't tell Tanner Burns that. He'll take it personal.
Well, you got him coming
from
on
Decatur,
here soon,
Alabama.
So, yeah. We'll mention that one. And then y'all's freshman year, obviously, I got to go to the College World Series. That had to be like one of the best experiences in baseball.
And 100%, that was the worst team on paper we had 3 years there.
Oh, for sure. I was
that's how it works,
Chief
man.
about that the other day too. We're on the phone call. It was like, man, we had no business going to Omaha freshman year, but we made it work.
Like I said, we had no business going, but I think what it was though, we had some older guys that were obviously good. They were pretty good players, but I don't know. It was kind of just that older guy, that mentality, I guess, that they had. That was kind of like, look, boys, just follow us, and we'll get it going. So I feel like it took a lot of pressure off of us young guys. We're like, all right, let's just play baseball, not really have to worry about anything. We still have a couple more years. Obviously, these guys want to go to Omaha.
Yeah. I just remember that regional in Houston, and that was a good regional. You had Wichita State.
No, it was Iowa.
Iowa, who could bang the ball. U of H was really good. They were hosting. And I forget. I don't know who the other team. Baylor, yeah. I mean, all really good schools, yeah. And Baylor was hot too. And every game that series went down to the last out, like 2-3, 2-1, something like that. And I remember, it was we didn't pitch any young guys that series. Childress wasn't doing it. And so those older guys, that's when they really stepped up and were like, dang, we can do this thing. And you remember Shewmake that came down to the last pitch of the championship game, and Connor Wong, who I don't know if he's still in the big leagues, but he's definitely been up there. But he hit that foul ball home run that we thought was it.
By about 6 inches.
Yeah.
That would have walked it off, and then we would have had to play them boys again.
That night, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about the regionals to me is because you're talking about those scores like 2-1, 3-4. It completely depends on where you're playing, what the scores are. Like when we host, our place turns into a Cracker Jacks box, and it's like 10-8. You got to be able to hit out of it. And there's some regionals where the pitching's going to win. That's what I mean. It's all about the draw and like who hosts, but the scores fluctuate so much across the country when it comes.
I agree. Completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think the only game was the Baylor game where we scored 8 runs. It was like 8-5, 8-6, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back and forth.
I remember Corbin Martin threw an absolute gem against Iowa. He gave up that one home run to the big.
Yeah, he had like 27 jacks on the year.
Yeah, dude, he hit that ball into the McDonald's parking lot.
Fat kid's a rake, always.
But, we won that game like 2-1. The reason I remember that game is because I remember the very last out, I'm playing second base at this point, is a pop-up right behind first base, and I wanted zero part of it. Just to win the game to go to.
Yeah.
I start creeping over there. Hunter Coleman was at first, and he was kind of like backpedaling. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and he finally calls it and catches it, and he looks at me like crazy. I said, hey, you got a bigger glove. You got a better chance.
Yeah. We need you on that one, Big Hunt.
That math checks out. Yeah, man, those tournaments are fun. But, yeah, like I said, we would host, and our strength was pitching, and then we'd go out and give up 8 runs in the first 6 innings, and it's like, Well, dang, we got to hit ourselves out of here. So we would have been better off probably going somewhere else. But it was nuts what our place turned into.
I would watch the region. I'd watch the regionals at y'all's place because
we watch those every year.
Dude, it's nuts. I don't know what it never played like that in the regular season, and then back-to-back years it played like that. I know Texas Tech that it goes nuts there too.
That's not even our baseball field.
Yeah.
Ball just flies out of
it's
there.
It's always like us in the Lubbock regional are like 25 home runs ahead of any other regional.
Every year.
Yeah. So obviously I had a good time there and move on to pro ball. I want to get into some of the places y'all have played. Obviously, Shewmake, you were able to kind of dodge some of the grinder towns between Rome and Mississippi and Gwinnett. Dox, you got to go to Hudson Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a breakdown of the Hudson Valley.
The locker room flooded a lot.
The actual locker room?
Yeah, the toilets would back up. It was like a thing. And I remember one specifically because that was back before they changed the season format where you're playing another team the next day. You don't have an off day. So we get back in the locker room one night and all our lockers are cleaned out, bags packed. They're like, don't go in there. And Johnny's over there like, oh, gosh, the urinal and the toilet's backflowed again. Like, there's crap all over the floors and stuff. And we're like, oh, man. And think about it, I'm just coming from A&M where you're flying private. You know how the SEC schools are. And I'm sitting here like, I'm about to get on this bus that doesn't have air conditioning. Like, I haven't showered after the game, still in uniform. They're going to do your laundry when we get there. We're driving to Mahoning Valley, Ohio. When we get there, the sun's coming up. We're still in uniform. Like, we got to play that night. And that's probably my one experience that sticks out. Other than that, I mean, it's honestly been nice because we missed the COVID season where the schedule still would have been the same. But since then, it's been a lot better. Even though we have long travel, we have a full day to do it. You know, you're not getting there at 5 a.m. having to play that night. Schnell, I know you got a little more taste of it.
Yeah, but I was in Princeton. At the end of 2019 when I was in BG, it stunk. But the 3 trips I took were like South Bend, Fort Wayne, and Lake County. Lake County, that was like a 15-hour bus ride. That one was bad.
The other thing about Hudson Valley, it was like the Rays knew it was a turf field, but the mound and home plate were dirt. Home plate was like Mars. The mound was like Mars. Your bullpen you warmed up in was like Inglewood Beach down in Florida. Like, there was just nothing to it. And there were multiple times Mitch would come up there and be like, God, I cannot be playing on this. And they would fly somebody up to train the grounds crew guy, and he would keep doing the same thing. So the Rays, they had effort behind getting that place better, but it was the grounds crew guy who ended up quitting. Like, at the end of the season, like, he just was out of it. And think about it. You've got 2 pieces of dirt to take care of. That's it. So, but we made it work.
It ain't that hard.
It was a good experience. Yeah. Shoot, we did it in high school.
Look, hey, my dad still does it to this day. It ain't that hard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Y'all remember last year in Charleston when we had that quick rain come on, and they started pulling out tarps out the back, like 12 different tarps. Like, they couldn't.
Yeah.
They waited too late to pull the tarp on. It got too heavy. They made it to about the pitcher's mound. And so they started yanking all these tarps out the back, just trying to like makeshift something. And they left one like 3x3 foot spot open on the dirt, and it just got soaked. And we couldn't.
They had to replace the sod.
Yeah, they literally had to basically rebuild the field.
They were like putting a puzzle together with the tarps and missed one spot. They ran out of tarps, and then it just cost us like 2 weeks.
Bro, we had that happen in Mississippi last year.
Was that at the end of the season when all that rain came through?
No, so we were actually going down to Biloxi. We were supposed to play at home, finish the series, and then we were going to go down to Biloxi. And so the hurricane was starting to come through, and we knew it was going to come back through that way. And so we talked to all of our uppers and everything. We're like, hey, do you guys want us to get out? Do you want us to stay? I mean, we're right in the path of where that's coming through. Like, where we're staying is probably going to flood. Like, these apartments are not great. We're on the first floor, and it's a 4-foot drop, or more than that. It's like 15 feet down from the road, but when you're walking up to it, it's like an extra 4-foot drop just to get down to the door. Said if anywhere's going to flood, it's going to be right here. And they were like, no, I think you guys are good. Y'all could probably sit there and just wear it and wait it out. Sit there and wear it and wait it out? What do you mean? So me, Shay, and Grayson Janista, we loaded up and we drove back to Dallas. So we drive back to Dallas. Yeah, we get back to Dallas, and then they told us we're not going down to Biloxi unless we're absolutely going to play. We said, all right, that's fine. So when are we leaving? They said tomorrow. We said, what? What? The rain just came through yesterday. There's still 4 feet of water in Biloxi. We're playing tomorrow? All right. So we were leaving that next night. So we had to drive back that next morning, drive all the way back. We get to Mississippi. We load the bus, get off. We go down there that night to play the next day. The game gets banged for 2 more days. 2 more days.
Unbelievable.
Well,
Like,
dude,
I mean,
y'all dealt with that too, but didn't y'all also have like a week where y'all couldn't play because of it was COVID protocol or something?
Yeah. So we were in Montgomery, and this is the craziest thing you'll ever hear. Dude on our team hits an inside the park home run, touches home plate, walks in a dugout. He takes 2 steps into the dugout. The trainer grabs him and says, "You tested positive. Let's go."
Oh God!
Inside the park home run to see ya. So he bounces, and then apparently our manager and our pitching coach or our hitting coach, both of them were not feeling good. And then we also had 6 guys with close contact. So we're playing with 15 guys for the last game of the series. So we play those games. Those close contacts all test. We had like 8 more test positive. And then we get home and we test again. Our manager and our hitting coach both test positive. We're like, what in God's green earth is going on here? Well, then our manager and our hitting coach, come to find out, they had felt bad for like 3 days prior. So then they got suspended for 3 days because they didn't tell them when they were feeling bad. Bro, it was bizarre.
That was
bizarre.
nuts.
I remember seeing all that.
Yeah, like to circle back to the whole tarp thing, we were supposed to start a game, and we're about to go out on, like, we hit BP, they hit BP, and they're like, hey, we're going to tarp it right after BP, so then it's going to rain, and then we'll be good. All right. So they hit BP. We finish. I mean, we take our last swing. We're picking up the balls, and the tarp, they start sprinting out to get the tarp out. And we're like, it's not even, like, raining yet, but, like, all right, cool, get it on so we can play. Like, I don't know why y'all are hustling so much. I mean, as soon as they touch that tarp, I've never seen it rain so hard in my life. They got it across, coming off of from the first base side. They got it across. As soon as it hit second base, they couldn't pull it anymore. We didn't have all those extra tarps. They took the mound tarp they took the mound tarp and home plate tarp. They put one on each, and they had one more circle tarp. And they ran that circle tarp and put it right on top of third base like it was a Band-Aid, like a circle Band-Aid. The only spot they put it on. It was incredible.
You know what's nuts is you think professional baseball and like they have these like big time field crews at these fields, but I remember I think I was a sophomore in high school, and one of my buddies and his best friend tell me they get hired by the Lookouts to be on the field crew. And this guy and one of my the buddy I'm talking about, I haven't seen him take anything serious in his life. and the Lookouts hired him on the field crew, so that's when I knew, like, okay, this might not be how it's cracked up to be. And we play on the Lookouts field, and it's like the worst. I think you've played there, shoot,
yep.
Probably, but it's like the worst playing surface I've ever played on.
It's
Our high school field was better than the Lookouts field.
It's terrible. I mean, Montgomery's field crew are the inmates from the jail. That's right beside. But these guys they're the field crew. They're getting our bags off the bus. We're walking down here. Dude's got face tattoos, and we're like, what is going on right now?
Oh God.
That's awesome. I've never heard that one. Shook works for the Lookout. Shook, put in a good word over there. Let's get some boys on the field crew.
The same problems still go on there. It still sucks to play there.
I mean, you can't, like, you have to dig up that field to make it good. It's bad.
I mean, you got to start by taking off the running track as the warning track. That's where it's got to start. I mean, I will say the one good thing is you took the running track off of the coaches' boxes and actually put turf or something in there. So diving into a hole when you run off the field every time.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Chat Nasty is not a good playing service. Shu, I wanted to talk about something. So I'm looking at your college numbers, and clearly the transition was very easy for you. You hit over 300 every year, and obviously there was no real struggle And I read an article. So last year at the beginning of the year, you kind of you went through a period of struggle. Would you say that was the first time you've had like a long period like that of just like real struggle?
Yeah, I mean that was, I wouldn't call that a struggle. I don't even know what that was, bro. When I tell you that it was it was probably one. It sounds like dramatic, but like dark part of your baseball career, like that was the darkest part of like. I would come back to the apartment, look at my wife, and be like, "Do I want to even keep doing this? Like, what in the world am I doing out there? Like, I feel like I don't have a chance. Like, I'd call my dad after games and be like, bro, I don't have a chance at the plate right now. It doesn't matter what they throw. I have no chance. They throw a fastball right down the middle, and I missed it. He was like, I know. I watched you do it 3 times a day. And I was like, yeah, well, like I said, I got no shot. Like, I have no idea. He's like, well, our season just ended. Do I need to come down there? And I said, yes, tomorrow. So my dad, that was about 32 games in or something like that. I was hitting 091 through like 32 games with 1 home run. It was bad. So I got him to come down. He stayed for a week, and we hit it hard. I mean, they wouldn't let us go hit at our field. Our manager told me that it was disrespectful to the hitting coach that I was hitting with somebody else. So my dad and I, for a week straight, went to a D-bat that was right down the road, and we hit in there for 2 hours every morning. And then I slowly started to hit a little bit better, and we had a conversation afterwards, like, look, dude, if you plan on hitting 300, it ain't happening. Just so you know, this season is down the drain, so better make the best of it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, all right, well, let's start from ground zero and see what we can do from here. So, like I said, we hit for 2 hours a day at a D-bat right down the road, and started hitting a little bit better. And then by the time he left, I think I had a 6-week stretch that I hit 460 for 6 weeks.
I remember that,
like,
dude.
This is bizarre. I was like, so this is what I should have been doing the whole time. And he was like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that.
So was it just like the mental hurdle of getting over the fact that your numbers were never going to look for the full season? They weren't going to look great, but you just had to come to terms like, I just got to put together a good second half and focus.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it started slow. I tried to make it all up in one game, every game, and then obviously that doesn't help you. And then went from that to I was kind of caught in between from like not getting mechanical and stuff, but like caught in between from like what at the time our hitting coordinator wanted me to do versus what I felt like I did better, like I did the best. So it's kind of like what I felt like is I would have 3 at bats doing it one way, and the way that I wanted to do it, I'd have 1 at bat. Now if I didn't get a hit that 1 at bat, then I wouldn't get one the whole game.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like trying to get back to what I do the best versus what I was trying to get told what would work for me best. If that makes sense. So it was kind of a little bit of that, and then obviously trying to make everything up in one game, every game. Like it was, I need 3 hits today. I need 4 hits today. And it was chasing hits. It wasn't trying to chase the process, as people say, chase hard hit balls, chase all that stuff. I wanted a hit every time I got to the plate.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's the hardest thing as a hitter is you've gone your whole life. Like I was drafted out of high school, so I went the 18 years. You went the 22 or whatever, doing pretty much like what your body like naturally does. And then you get to pro ball and you got guys like, hey, try this. Hey, try this. And I'm like, well, I've been doing pretty well doing it the way that I've been doing it.
You don't realize like that when people tell you like, hey, it's your career, do what you do. You don't realize that until you don't do it. And you're like, oh, that's what you meant. That's what you meant by that. And now I got to go all the way back and take 12 steps backwards to get to where I want to be because I let somebody else tell me how I need to play.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of people just want to put like their stamp on you a little bit, especially knowing like you were picked high and you got a good chance of going and making an impact in the big leagues, and they want to be able to say like, oh, I helped him do that, and then they may tell you to make an adjustment that ain't going to help you, or they don't know what they don't think you need to make an adjustment. They're just telling you something so that if you go off in the next week, you're like, oh yeah, that clicked, and you can say, yeah, he told me to do this, and you're not really feeling it, but he said something, and then you went off because you were doing the same exact thing you've been doing. And
absolutely, but yeah, back to the question. That was definitely, it was different, and it was mentally was draining every single day. That was probably the first time in my entire life that I would get to the field and look at a couple of teammates and be like, bro, why I hate being here? Why am I here? This sucks.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's dramatic at all to talk about darkest days and stuff, because that's one of my favorite questions on this podcast, because everyone has been through something like that at some point in baseball. It's amazing to me you went through college without it, because that's when it hit me. And I know, Doc, you mentioned you had some freshman struggles. I feel like most of the guys that go to college, it's like right when they get to campus and you kind of get hit in the face and it's like, all right, I got to make an adjustment here. But that's crazy to me. It happened to you this far in your career, but like most people, I'm sure you wouldn't change that time now.
No, not at all. It's funny because it's funny you say that, because I like Shay, obviously one of my best friends as well. He his was in when we first got drafted. We went to low A, and he only finished the year hitting 250 or 240, whatever it was, because he finished the last 3 games like 4 for 4, 4 for 4, 3 for 4. That was the only reason. And he would be the first one to tell you. And you know how many home runs Shay hits? He hit 2 home runs that whole year. Yeah. And he's like, he's the first one to tell me, he's like, bro, I needed that really bad year to be able to learn a ton of stuff to be where I'm at now. And so I finished here last year, and he gave me a hug after we won the championship and said, hey, just so you know, you needed this year. You needed it, because we'll just wait to see what happens after. I was kind of like, okay, we won the championship 6, so I really wasn't thinking about it. But now that I look back and think on it, it's very true. Like I needed that to know, like, hey, I need to do what I do, not do what other people want me to do.
Right. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Everyone has done it, and it's all been different for everyone. Doc, you want to speak on yours a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, mine came, I had it freshman year, but that was just being hard-headed, not wanting to listen to, or not trusting. I was trying to be perfect, and I figured that out, got over that. And then last year started in Charleston hot, and then got to Bowling Green and thought I had to do something special, and had a rough go at it pretty much all. Or I would string 3 good starts together, 3 bad. Like, it just wasn't very consistent. And it was just all going back to, like, all right, what do you do best? What feels the best? Yes, you can mix in some of the things you're being taught to, get better, but at the same time, like, when you feel the best and what works best for you. And so I feel like since going back to that, this year has just been a lot more smooth sailing, especially like my whole career, I've been a slider guy. Like, my slider is my pitch. Like, people say 3-2, throw your fastball so you don't walk a guy. For me, it's slider. Like, yeah. If you go back and watch an outing, anytime I go 2-0, 2-1, anything, it doesn't matter. There's a 70% chance you're getting 3 sliders. It's either get a ground out or 3 swing and misses just to get that at-bat over. And so that's kind of what I leaned back on this year, is like using my pitch and knowing, like, if something happens, it happened on my best pitch versus, like, because a big thing for me is, like, establish the fastball, where I have a good fastball, I don't have a great fastball. And so, like, at some point you got to be like, all right, well, fastball's not going to work here. You got to go with what is right. Yeah. And so that's a big thing, is just trusting what works best for you. And that can change over time. And that's when you adapt to that.
Did your dominoes come in, Docs?
My dominoes? Oh, yeah, I picked it up.
There you go.
Mouth is watering now.
Docs, you drive me crazy, bro. You drive me crazy, because every time I talk to all of our guys, like within our organization, and I tell them, they tell me that they're facing you or whatnot, what I'll tell them is, all right, he's got a really damn good slider. I'll tell you that for free. And now you're telling me you don't want to throw it. I'm going to be hard-headed and not throw it enough.
Well, that's, I was influenced last year to pitch off my fastball. And it got to the point where, like, these guys in higher, they're waiting for your first fastball. Like, that's all they're hunting right now. And it just got to the point where it's like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, I'm going to mix in other stuff. And then now it's gotten to the point where I'll soften them up and I'm freezing guys on fastball away, which, like, that's never really happened for me.
It's weird how that
so
works.
It's just kind of figuring it out on my own. Which is good, though. I've learned a lot. It's like, it's confident now. Like, throwing a fastball last year, it wasn't confident because I was like, this is going to get barreled. But this year, it's like I figured out how to make that fastball more effective and freeze guys on it, or jam them, or just have them be late on 90, 91, which is hard to do.
Well, that's always what's funny to me is anytime you're going through struggle in baseball, it seems like going back to what was simple and what worked is the way out. Like it's always you try to make it more complex than it is. I remember, especially for me, I saw it when I was in San Diego and I was facing some really, really good hitters. And it was like, first off, I was trying to do something real special and I was walking people. I was like, all right, screw this. I went into an outing. I was like, I'm not walking anyone today. Just did what I used to do and cruised. I was like, well, nothing changes. It's still baseball. Like players get better, but you're still playing ball. And whatever got you there is probably going to keep you there.
For sure. No, I completely agree with that, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when we were in Brooklyn, it was cold, really cold. I mean, it was 50, but we had a wind coming. Like it was cold. And me and Trag the week before kind of got a little barreled. And this Trag pitched the first night, went 5 innings without giving up a hit. I think he went 6, ended up giving up 2 hits, no runs. And I was like, dude, what'd you do? He's like, I literally just threw every pitch down the middle. So all right, I'll do that the same thing tomorrow. And I sat 88 that night and threw every pitch down the middle and gave up 2 hits in 6 innings. And so it's one of those things where you're just like, there's no way it's that easy. But that's just like you're saying, like you just got to go back to being simple and like, I mean, I'll tell Shewmake every time, like hitters aren't that smart, you know? It's like,
hey, you also got to think hitting is hard. Like it don't matter if I know what's coming, I still got to hit it. That is hard to do.
Yeah.
And I got to not hit it at somebody.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of all this, let's do something we've kind of just started doing. Shook, you got the video ready to roll on both?
Yeah, I've got Braden's. Let me add Doxakis in here real quick.
Okay, we'll just start with them then. You have a full at bat, Shook?
Yeah, I've got 4.
Okay. Well, just pick one. Schnell, you and Braden break down an at bat right here. Just kind of walk us through what's going through your head, Shew, and what kind of what you're going for throughout this.
All right, so this was obviously I had played a really good game. This was just last weekend, but so I faced Easton we faced him in spring training, but I faced him in Montgomery a lot last year. So he's a 4 or 5 pitch guy. Throws a lot of pitches. But the one thing is I'll tell you is I kind of went into this game knowing that, hey, the fastball is not going to beat me. So I'm not necessarily looking to be right on time with the fastball. As you're going to be able to see in this can be a fastball away, and I hit it way foul the other way. That was kind of my approach the whole time, was take that the other way. So anything that I get that's soft, I can back to the middle of the field to the pull side. Yeah. That was kind of my initial thought when I got in here. So first pitch, I'm going to get a fastball away here, middle away, and I'm not necessarily on time. I'm going to foul it off the other way. So then the next one is a cutter, kind of coming middle in, and I see the spin, and I can see something coming back into me. So that's when I knew, hey, I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on for this. I can keep moving through this. I don't have to change my swing and any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So did you face Easton again? I guess you did. This next at bat, shit.
This is the first one.
Okay. Yeah. Go to the next one. All right. Pause it. So, all right, Schnell, you can break it down. I don't know why I'm doing it.
No, it's whatever. 99.9% of the time, I'm just freaking hunting a fastball, especially like at the lower level. So but I do know Easton. I know what he's got. So like he said, I'm probably having the same approach. Like his fastball isn't going to overpower you. So you're not going to let that, you just have that in the back of your mind. Like that's not going to beat me. So if you have to, battle that pitch, but I'll probably look for anything that's like middle in off him. Like, I don't know why, but for guys that throw harder, I look middle away. I guess it actually does make sense. But if I was facing Easton, I'd probably be looking like middle in, something I can drive. And if I got it, just pull the trigger.
So, Shew, after you get a hit on a cutter the first at bat, do you eliminate that pitch this next at bat or no?
No, I'm not necessarily gonna eliminate that for this at bat. I mean, I'm still I work zones a lot when I go up to the plate. Like I want to zone a guy in a certain location. So I zone him kind of middle away and up. Because in my eyes, if he throws a cutter that's middle away up, it's gonna stay on the plate.
Yeah.
If he throws a changeup that's middle way up, I still have a chance to hit that. If he throws a fastball that's middle way up, it's going to sink right back down to where I want it to be. And if he throws a curveball that's middle way up, it's going to still be in the zone most likely. So we try to find zones that if it comes out in this, no matter what pitch it is, it's going to be in the zone.
Okay. I like that. Roll the first pitch, Shook. I don't know what happened there. I couldn't see that.
Changeup away.
Okay.
So it looked like from putting these together, and I don't know, it looked like it was attacking you a lot away. I guess that was with the changeup. Is that something that you had seen like going into it, or like from?
That's something that the Rays had done all year last year as well. They would try to go like that's why I think he threw that cutter in. He tried to throw something harder in, and then they'll throw that changeup away. Okay. So it just gets to a point like there's an at bat in the next game where he went changeup. He got me out on a changeup, got me out on another changeup. So I went up there the next at bat going, I'm sitting first pitch changeup. If it's anywhere up and away to middle away, I'm going at it. And he threw it right in that exact spot, and I hit a line drive up the middle. It's just kind of like they kept doing the same thing. Now, obviously, it'll change from guy to guy just depending on what they throw. But there's some guys that are just fastball changeup only to left-handers. There's some guys that'll mix in a slider but don't really like to use it. So it changes pitcher to pitcher.
So you take the changeup away, still looking that up in the way spot, I guess?
Yeah, I'm still looking middle up and away. Middle.
Okay. So you get the fastball. It's pretty on the black there, so it's 1-1. Yeah, that's a good pitch.
Yeah, that's a good pitch.
So, I mean, so it's 1-2 now. Does your approach change at all?
Nah, I'm trying to hit a line drive right off his forehead. I'm trying to spin his cap. That's what I'm trying to do. If he throws a fastball in and I get beat by it, hopefully I put a good enough swing on it to get enough barrel on it to shoot it out there somewhere. But if he throws me that curveball again, I feel really confident in being able to hit that pitch. I don't think it was like I don't know. I felt confident in the swing. And it was kind of like hey, I'm a little bit early right here. I can either slow down and barely just try to hit it, or I can swing through this right here and live to fight another day since I feel comfortable in the box today.
Okay. All right, roll one pitch, Shook. Yeah, so that's what you're talking about. If you saw the curveball again, you felt pretty good on. You saw it well. You just missed it the first time.
Yeah, but then back to the zones. If you think about it, that ball was middle or was way in the whole time. And I saw the spin well, yes, but the ball was in the whole time. So kind of start to go, but the hands never moved as far as trying to make an actual swing.
Yeah. So those pause it, Shook. So those of you listening, he was talking about the zones. He just took a curveball that was like kind of back foot. So it's kind of out of the zone, just spit on it. So it's 2-2 count now. Roll it, Sugar. So you're able to, so they change up right off the plate. So if you knew that if he threw it in that zone, it was going to be a ball. You saw the spin, knew that.
Yeah, another thing I'll tell you about playing in Durham, your first two at-bats, you cannot see very well. It is like spin-wise. You can't see the spin. You can see the ball. Great. The ball looks great, but you don't pick up spin very well. And that one was really close, obviously. It was close, but I remember going back to the dugout after that at bat going, I didn't see that 2-2 very good. I'm glad he did that ball a little bit off.
Yeah, a little bit of luck involved there, huh?
Yeah, that's what I told the hitting coach. I said, I'm really glad he threw that off the plate. I didn't see that very good.
So sometimes it's that simple, huh?
Yeah, sometimes it just is what it is.
All right, roll, Shook. I didn't see what happened, but it was smoked.
That's what you would do to me every time.
I didn't see it. Shook. What was it?
Get a rewind. Here we go.
Okay.
No, center cut.
Yeah, middle.
All right, run that back. I lost you guys for a second. I didn't hear it.
All right, run it back, Shook.
I didn't see it.
It was an absolute.
I know he wants to see this.
Middle freaking.
Change up.
Middle ball, 3
change up. Yeah, that was a change up.
So. Yeah, so change it down the middle 3. Once you got 3-2, you felt probably like you're back in control at that point, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, like I don't necessarily do this, but I know a lot of guys that they'll tell you, hey, what I've been trying to do is I'll keyhole the pitcher 3-2. It's a lot of the most common pitch in 3-2 right nowadays is not a fastball.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I'm looking middle. And if he throws me a fastball, great. And if he throws me something else that's a little bit here or there, I'm going to spit and hope for the best. Like, there's some guys that do that. Now, I try not to do that because they don't want to walk you. Like, yeah, he threw a changeup right there, but that's also his best pitch. That's what he throws the most of. So, like I said, just different pitchers do a lot of different things.
Gotcha. All right, that was good stuff. Shook, you got Doxakis cut up?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Add it in here real quick.
Dox is trash.
Doc sent us this at bat himself, so you know it's going to be a good one. I ain't even watched it yet.
He's a trash can.
Shook's on the grind right now, by the way.
Yeah, he is. Oh,
All
my
right.
freaking mini.
Yeah, this one's a little bit miniature.
That's all right. I can still
Can you
see
see it, Doc?
Yeah.
All right, so what? You remember what inning this was?
All right, so I don't remember, but I just remember the reason I pulled from this start is because this was last week. I started on Tuesday and I pitched on Sunday, and it was the same lineup. And so I was like, all right, well, I spun these guys pretty heavy the first day and was successful. And my thought process was like, well, I'm just going to keep doing it until I hit it.
Yeah.
And it continued to work, but I'm pretty sure this AB shows me like mixing in a fastball just to get him off of the slider to set it up at the end.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure
pitch.
first pitch. So yeah, lefty. This guy the first day did not catch up or was not showing signs of pulling the ball against me. So first pitch, 2-seam in off the bat, just to
get ahead,
just to keep him honest. Yeah.
All right, so you get that swing.
Get it there.
Obviously, you got it where you want it. So after you see that swing, what's your plan going forward?
If I see that, my plan is like, all right, the door's open on the outside. If he starts to foul off the slider, I'm going to go back in. Try not to throw it on the plate, like kind of get it up and in, just to back him off a little bit more, and then hopefully be able to dump another slider in. And I think that's what I end up doing here.
Because you were able to stand him up right there, 2-seam up and in, kind of got it off the hands. So, like you said, to open up the outside part of the plate, roll it shook. So go outside. And you can try to get final with that one, I guess. 0-1.
I went outside there because I knew – or I struck him out earlier in the day, and I struck him out the day before, and I had gone fastball slider each time. So that was just that was honestly a show-me pitch.
Yeah. Okay. So 1-1. Come back with a fastball. I like that because you said you've been slider heavy facing these guys. I'm sure he thought a slider was coming there 1-1.
And he had seen sliders so much, I was just trying not to show it too much till I wanted to punch him out. Is the thing because like I said, it was the second start in the week. This is probably his 5th or 6th AB off me in the week, and it had all gone the same. So it was just a little bit different. This was the last inning of the Sunday start too. So.
You knew if you could get to 2 strikes, you liked your chances with the slider.
Yeah, if I just executed the right. You'll see in this at bat, I got away with one where I was trying to bury it.
Well, you'd be a real dog if you threw him another heat.
Yeah, that's a hitter right there.
No, I mean to be honest though, with what you're saying though, like if you just dominate this guy with slider, you get to 2 strikes. What do you think the first thing he's thinking? Here comes the slider.
Yeah.
If you bury one, like you throw that 2-seam down and in, he's done. He's done. And even if it's not a strike, obviously you can go back to your slider. But I'm just saying, if you throw him another one right there, he ain't swinging at it.
So I like that. So y'all are both lefty.
Hey, shoot, we're still in A-ball, man. But that's a good tip for when I get up there.
Yeah, but I was gonna ask. So Shu and Schnell, y'all are both lefties. Are you eliminating the inside part of the plate at this point because you've been dominated with sliders if you're facing Docs here. So it's 2 strikes. Are you just you're saying I'm gonna say look away?
I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm looking in.
Okay, really?
Because if I'm in a zone, talk about my zones, if I'm zoning him in, if he throws a slider that starts in, it's a strike. If there's a slider that starts away, it's a ball.
I probably for 2 strikes. It's hard to. So if I'm facing Docs, then yeah, probably I'll probably look away just because Like that's what I feel like he's gonna do. But it's all dependent on who's the pitcher. Like
Yeah. All right, so we
Is
got
what
him set up
sometimes-
here. 1-2.
Look at me get away with this one. No, that was a slider
Nah, that's a
down,
good
so I tried
pitch.
to punch him there. This is the one
Yeah.
I get away with.
So miss on the slider, 2-2.
Oh, John.
yeah, that
I
ball
mean,
should have been hammered.
Pause.
But you can get away with that.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
this
backup slider is a good pitch.
is
I see,
me
but I
going
wouldn't even say
back
that
to
backed
like.
up. I wouldn't say that backed up too much, but you can get away with that when he's got to respect that. Like he's probably leaning out over, trying to get that slider out. And
Yeah.
you leave one up and in, he ain't gonna get to that.
Yeah. But this is where I'm leaning back to like, all right, I go 2-2. I'm not going 3-2. So that's why I'm like, I'm going slider till he hits this, grounds out, base hit, ground out, or strikeout. And so that's why I did that. And I saw the swing and I was like, all right, if I execute this and get it down, he is not hitting it. And so I think that's what the next
especially
one
after
comes
especially after that one kind of got in on the hands a little bit, kind of froze him off the hand and then came over the plate. All right, let's see it. Should. Yeah.
And so
Well,
that
that's it.
one, because he kind of pulls off of it in the swing, and I'm just thinking like maybe he saw fastball for a little bit and just missed it because that is not a great slider to punch a guy out on. It didn't have the depth or anything, but I'm just guessing it tunneled like a fastball. And see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's one thing I do have to get better at is like understanding hitters and reading them, and that's what I'm figuring out as I go on. But it's good to hear Shewmake's point of view because like I never know what a hitter's thinking, and like. You have good hitters at this level, but hitters at this level don't have their plan yet and don't have consistent approaches, or they have an approach, but it might not be the best approach. And so that's I think that'll come with time, just learning hitters and being around like big league hitters that do this for a living. And that's why they're there, is because like you have your plan and like you figured out like, all right, this guy, like I've never heard the zoning thing in my life. And I hear our coach talk to hitters, and hearing the zoning thing like that makes so much sense. And I've never thought about that in my life. And I'm up there on the mound trying to think like, oh God, what is this guy thinking? What does he think I'm going to throw? I'm like, I have no idea. So
Yeah,
maybe I
I mean-
need to spend more time talking to you about what y'all think versus me trying to do something different.
Hey, but you were talking about how you were thinking like, hey, maybe he thought that was a slot, like that came out as a heater. But like, think about it from this standpoint as well. So you get him 0-2 on two, or 1-2 on two heaters. Or was it 0-2? 0-2 on two.
1-2,
heaters.
1-2,
1-2 on two heaters, right? 3 heaters. Okay, you throw the slider down and away, and then you throw a slider up and in. You didn't throw them where you wanted to, both of them. Like you might have missed with one or the other. I can almost guarantee you he was sitting here thinking he's not throwing that pitch again.
Yeah.
He just buried one and just missed one way up arm side. There's no way he's going back to that.
Yeah.
So now that's what you like. To be honest with you, that's what a lot of like hitters at that level do. I used to do the same thing. Like he just missed big with 2 of them. He ain't throwing that pitch again. Here comes fastball.
Yeah, so I guess the biggest question, and we talk about this a lot, is like, at what point in a hitter's at bat are hitters like, there's no way this guy triples up on this. There's no way this guy doubles up on this. Like, there's no way he throws it 4 times, which I do a lot. Like, if you're going to sit there and foul sliders and you're not taking a good swing, you're still out in front, like, pulling it into our dugout, I'm going to keep throwing it until you show me you can take a good swing on it. And so I don't know what y'all's mindset is like, if you're getting dominated by a pitcher that you come off as you're not swinging at it well, like, at what point are you like, all right, this guy is not going to throw it again?
It's never off the table in my book. The last day I saw 6 changeups in a row. So it's never off the table. Mueller threw me 5 changeups and a slider in it. So it's never off the table.
Oh, man. That sounds like Mueller.
I just, like I said, to me, I think that's kind of why I've gone to this zoning approach. Like, hey, this guy might have a good fastball. Hey, I got to zone his fastball in this area because if he happens to throw one of those good off-speed pitches, I'll be able to take it because it's going to start in a different area.
Gotcha.
That's also without 2 strikes. Like, obviously, with 2 strikes, you're sitting there going, all right, put bat on ball.
Yeah.
Battle.
So at what
Bat on
point is this your approach at the plate? Like, obviously your zones are different for every pitcher, but like you're obviously crushing it in AAA, hitting about 300. So like, is that something you picked up on this year or developed? And like,
This is the first year I've done it.
really?
The first year I've done it, I'd never heard of it before this. We kind of walked over and went through it in spring training, and I was kind of like, I kind of like that. Like, I've never been a big analytics guy. Like, I don't really like all that stuff. Like, my dad, my dad is a very old school baseball guy. Like, that's just kind of the way that my family's always been. I personally think like the only analytical thing that I really use is that zoning thing. Like, hey, this guy he's a right-handed pitcher. He's got 18 inches of horizontal here. So he's a two-seam guy, and he's going to throw a two-seam slider. Okay, so that kind of guy, I'm probably going to zone him middle, depending on what the slider does, depending on how much the slider moves. If the slider is more like a kind of a cutter, I might move it middle in just a tick, because if I see a fastball that starts there, it's going to run back over the plate. It's going to be a strike. Versus if I zone him away and he throws a fastball away, it's going to run out and I'm going to swing and miss.
You know what's funny about that is, like, some guys are teaching now, and I've heard it, is like, all right, you're this two-seam slider guy, start your pitches in this zone, where, like, you're saying, like, that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Like, so that's one of the best hitting approaches I've ever heard, because that's how guys are pitching now, That's how they have to pitch to throw a strike and to make it presentable. So it's pretty mind-blowing. It's like a counterattack,
It's just,
what are we going to do now?
And I'm not going to take credit for it, obviously, because that's kind of what a lot of our guys do now. Is we've all a lot of guys have adopted that. Hey, this is the zone. Like, I can't speak for all the guys. Like, hey, this is what they actually do when they go to the plate. Like, hey, I'm actually thinking I'm going to look for something in this zone. That's what I want to hit. Like, I can't speak for those guys, but there are at bats where you just feel untouchable, and you're like, hey, doesn't matter what you throw it. I'm going to hit it. And then there's other bats where you're like, dude, I have no idea. I'm going to look in this spot, and if he throws me, say I'm looking middle in, and he throws me 3 heaters right on the black away, I'm going to go, all right, there you go. I'll see you next at bat.
Yeah.
That's
what I was going to ask. If a pitcher executes 3 pitches outside the zone you're looking for, is it just one of the things where you're like, all right, hey, nice?
Yeah, I mean, against some guys, like, it has to be. Like, some guys just have this kind of stuff where you're like, if he executes this one pitch in the right spot 3 times, I may be out. But it also kind of changes when you get to 2 strikes, knowing like, hey, this is what he's trying to do to me right here. If he throws this pitch with 2 strikes, I'm going to stick my butt this way, and I'm going to try to flip it that way.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what's going to have to happen. If you get a hit, great. If you don't, you don't. Like, it is what it is.
So let me ask you this: with the kind of the method you're using, does it ever become a problem if the pitcher just tunnels 3 pitches really, really well out of that zone?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it can, obviously, like, if a guy's like that good to be able to tunnel all this stuff, like, there are guys that are that good that just everything comes out looks the exact same and goes different directions. Like, Josh Fleming in AAA with you guys, he just got sent down, Docs. He throws 18. He's got 18 inches of horizontal as a lefty, and he's got a good, like, hard cutter slider as well, and he's got a bigger one. So, like, I was telling a couple of guys, like, this guy's a left-handed hitter's nightmare. Like, where do I look? Because if I look middle away and he throws the slider, then it's going to be off the plate that way. But if I look middle away and he throws the heater, then I'll be able to hit it. Well, if I look middle in and he throws the heater, I can't hit it. And if he throws the slider, I can't hit it. So it's kind of like you got to pick and choose one. Like, do I want to hit the heater or do I want to hit the slider? Pick one, and you got to.
Yeah, like you said, it's not that it solves every problem, but it definitely simplifies it as a hitter when you're looking for at one spot, and especially when you're playing the percentages where you're probably going to get in that one spot at some point.
Yeah, how often do you play percentages, Shu?
I look at it. We have this guy throws 45% heaters, 30%. I mean, I'll look at it and just give it a quick look.
It's just an idea in the back of the head.
Yeah, but I have it's like you said, it's an idea in the back of the head, but I have this little, like, journal type thing that I try to keep regularly as possible on what teams like to do. So, like, every team's different. Like, even if you go face a guy, he's like, hey, he throws 70% fastballs. I'll have one at bat maybe another guy on our team will have an at bat where he sees 3 curveballs or he sees 3 changeups. We got a guy that doesn't even throw a changeup and he threw 2 of them. You're like,
Right.
so you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know about you, Docs, but if I was like me being a pitcher, if I was telling a hitter on my team, I wouldn't look so much at like total pitch percentage because just because I throw that a majority of the time, I might be coming off 2 straight games of facing a heavy righty lineup. Like it's different. Even if it's like lefty percentage versus righty percentage, it's like I don't feel like I'd throw you the same as I would throw Schnell. Y'all are both lefties. Like I don't know. I don't.
Very different.
I would never. I don't think I would. Like you said, I'd look at it and kind of know what I got, but I don't think I would ever like fully put my faith in the percentages of total pitches thrown.
No, so the way that
I know what I
look at
wouldn't throw Schnell.
A heater.
Fastball away. I know.
Hey, guess what he did today, Docs?
Yeah, ask me what I did. First AB, let off the game with a freaking backside nuke.
Oh, you're bad.
There
You're
it
bad.
is.
You're
The
bad.
classic Schnelly.
That's your
I've
bread and
yet to
butter.
see
That's
him
your
pull
bread
a
and
homer.
butter. What about
No,
that
you
one
saw
in-
me pull one the other day.
Yeah,
What are you
live
talking
BP,
about?
Live
Yeah,
BP.
That
Who's
was loud. I was off a rehab guy.
Today's was louder. That boy was gone.
You're bad.
Before we leave, Shu, you talked about kind of bounce or Docs. You mentioned like bouncing off big league hitters and stuff. I read where you worked a lot with Ron Washington and Dansby on your defense, and I feel like it's every shortstop that's drafted. Like, can they play short? That's the big question. Can they play short? And I'm sure you take that personally. Like, yeah, I can freaking play short. So being like working with those guys, that had to be a huge boost.
Ron Washington is by far the best infield guy in the world. 100%. I'll take that to my grave. Like, the guy is absolutely unbelievable with his stuff. With just the little drills that we do, he's so meticulous with everything. Like, when you first start doing it, if you don't do it perfect for 5 days in a row, you don't get to graduate and move on to adding some other things into it. So there's a whole process that goes into it, and that's for new draft guys. Like when we come into spring training, we go like 2 days of doing that normal or little lighter stuff, and then we'll start adding more stuff into it. And then by like third, fourth, fifth day, we're actually doing everything all put together. But it is every single day. I know exactly what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it.
That's cool.
Yeah, you see all the videos of it too. It's pretty hardcore. He gets
It's
into
sweet.
it.
Dude, he's like the exact opposite of what you think of like a college coach or college infield guy would be. Like if you mess something up, they're going to say something about it. If you mess something up, he just goes, hits another one. You do it right, he screams. You do it right, he screams.
That's cool.
Good.
Yeah, he seems like an awesome dude. That's cool. You got to work with him. I know you cited Dansby a lot as a guy who's helped you out. Pretty good guy to learn from him. I think he's got statistically the best defender in the bigs this year.
Yeah, he's dude, that guy thinks of the game in a way different way than anybody I've ever talked to. He just thinks of the game in so many different he's got a way different look at everything. Like when it comes to angles, like all sorts of things, dude. It's crazy. Like just a quick instance, like he'll be talking about, he's like, hey, so think about this. You're sitting at shortstop. He's like, the game is all based off of lines. Like you have the lines here, the batter's box is lines. Everything is based off of lines. This is where they tell you to stand at shortstop. He said, now if you look at it, if you stand where they tell you to stand at shortstop, that's rounded back there. He said, you're facing the hitter. He's like, you have a ton of range to your backhand and not as much range if you go straight sideways to your forehand. So he said, why, or one or the other, exactly which one he said, he was showing to me. He's like, now if you took a half step this way, now you cut down some of the range you have in your backhand, which is fine because if I go make a diving play way back there, he's safe anyways. But range to my forehand, and I can go make a sliding play and have a shorter throw. He said, why would I not turn my body just a little bit this way to be able to make this play versus be able to stop something out there that's not going to help you? There's a million things that he talked about in spring training, and I can't even recall him. Dude, he is so smart, and he's
Maybe it's that Vanderbilt degree.
Bro, he is so smart. He's one of the smartest human being baseball players I've ever come across, ever.
The Vanderbilt degree doesn't translate. I know too many people at Vanderbilt. That's just a coincidence there. But Guys, we really appreciate y'all coming on. Don't want to take up y'all's entire off day, but I have some really good stuff, real good baseball talk. Y'all are obviously welcome back anytime, and keep tearing it up. Y'all are
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep, stay healthy, and hey, get that pizza in, Doc.
Oh, I'm about to crush it. You bet.
All right, see you boys later.
See you guys.
See ya.
All right, today we welcome on a very, very special guest, the world record decathlete himself, David Rush. David, how's it going?
Hey, Cole, Schnell, thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, we've been fired up for it. For those of you who've listened to us for a while now, you know why we have him on. For those of you who don't, we'll get into it later. But I want to start, David, with you, kind of how you got into this business of breaking all these records.
Sure.
I was doing some reading up on you, and I see you're an electrical engineer major, and went to MIT, went to Boise State. So at what point during that process did it become evident that you were going to start doing all this?
Yeah, so I've got a engineering background. I work at a technology company here in Boise called Cradlepoint. And after I graduated, I was invited to come speak to some organizations about my journey of going through the Idaho public education system and how it prepared me to go off and get this technical degree at MIT. And to make it more interesting, I said, hey, I'll come talk to your group. That's fine. And I'm going to juggle to get people's attention, do some analogies. And that's when I started promoting STEM education, the importance of science, technology, engineering, and math, driving the local economy. The jobs are there, and students need to understand how it works. Even if they're not going to necessarily go into technology, they need to be exposed to it as kids, because you don't necessarily learn history to become a history major. You learn history to understand how the world works. And STEM subjects are the same, and the jobs are there too. And so I started promoting STEM education, giving these talks, students, educators, and I've been doing that for 12, 14 years now. And about 7 years ago, I thought, how do I take this message to the next level? How do I give a tangible example that if you set your mind to a goal, believe in yourself and pursue it with a passion, you can accomplish virtually anything? And I decided, hey, I'm going to break a Guinness World Record as that tangible example.
That's awesome. So what was the first one that you broke?
So the first one I practiced for was I was going to run the fastest half mile while juggling. So it's a sport called joggling. And so you juggle while you run. I mean, it's a real sport. Sure, there's a few thousand people. Okay. There's the joggling championships are happening online right now. You can go out to the track and people are running and filming themselves and timing them. So I juggled for a couple thousand miles while running. Short runs, long runs, wind sprints, time trials. I'd run until my legs burn and my lungs were on fire, and then I'd run some more. And after about 2,000 miles of training, I went on one last run, and you know what happened, right?
I do not know what happened.
I hurt my knee. I couldn't run anymore. I mean, I went to the doctors, x-rays. I got second opinions, MRI. They could not figure out what was going on with my knee. And so at that point, I had a decision to make. Do I give up on this dream of breaking a Guinness World Records title, or do I pivot to something else? And I decided to pivot, say, hey, I gave it the college try. I spent 2 years on it, but that's not good enough. I'm not going to give up. And so I pivoted to the longest duration of blindfolded juggling. I just spent a couple hundred hours doing the basic 3-ball cascade, and I realized, I've become so consistent with that. I can do it literally with my eyes closed, stand in one place. I can do it for longer. And so in October of 2015, I broke my very first Guinness World Records title for longest duration blindfolded juggling.
Awesome. So, all right, I got a question. What makes the record official? Can you just do it on video and send it to somebody, or does someone have to be present and watch you from?
So
Guinness?
There's a number of records organizations, but the gold standard is Guinness World Records. And Guinness World Records has a very extensive process for officiating and validating records. And anybody can go to their website, create a free account, and apply for records and try to do it officially. And the different records have different verification aspects to them, but in general, when you apply for record, you have to get the application packet back before you can officially make an attempt. And that application packet includes all of the specific rules, all the guidelines you have to follow, for speed and distance one. It's got to be on a track, officially measured, certified. And then you have to have independent witnesses, timekeepers, video evidence, photographic evidence, 2 people on the stopwatches that know how to use them, and put that all packaged together. And Guinness tells you how to submit it. That whole process can be done for free, but start to finish for a single record, it's usually 6 months to go the free route.
Okay. All right. So if you guys haven't been on, you need to go check out David Rush's YouTube page? Because you've got a majority of your records on there, right?
Yeah, I've broken a bit over 200 to date, and I've got probably almost 200 of those posted as YouTube videos now.
Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, you literally. I remember one night we got sucked in and watched them for hours.
Yeah, we were watching for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we were watching a bunch of them. So I want to talk about some of my favorites and kind of get into I want to know how you think of some of this stuff, because I know for a fact that you can't just open the Guinness World Record book and find some of the things that you've done. Because I know one of my favorites is when you were standing on the it's almost like an exercise ball and you were slicing the fruit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, how do you just think of that?
So almost all of the records I've broken are existing records.
Okay.
And so the ways you can find them are, obviously the book is there, but the book only publishes about 4,000 records per year. And there's close to 50,000 total official Guinness World Records now. And those are mostly on the website. And the public website has some of them, but if you want the full search, you got to create an account and look at the record application search. And so they're all freely available to search there. And that's how I find most of them. I'll either look through the book, or I'll see a YouTube video, or I'll read about it on that site. And it used to be all juggling records, because juggling is I've been doing it since I was 8, started the juggling club at MIT. And so it was like, okay, long illustration, blindfold juggling, the world's fastest 5-ball juggling, and the world's fastest juggling. And then, some of the hardest ones I've ever done, like the fastest mile run while juggling blindfolded. That's just one that took literally 5,000 miles of running to be able to do that. And I used to be focused on those, but now I have what's called a growth mindset, espoused by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. And the idea there is you can literally become better at anything with no hard upper limit. Now, you can have a fixed mindset in life that all your talent, skills, and abilities are innate to yourself. And all you have to do is discover how good you are at them. You try them, you take a test, you have somebody tell you, and then you've got this, you want to avoid things you're bad at, do the things you're good at. But in a growth mindset, you can literally become better at anything. And that's what I'm trying to get students to understand when they fail at math or struggle at science. I say, no, you can still become an engineer if you believe you can and you work hard at it. And so now I look at any record and say, I could probably break this record with enough time, perseverance, and effort. And then it's just a matter of which ones do I want to spend my time, energy, and effort on. If I want to become like the NBA all-time three-point shooter, I probably needed to start a few years ago.
Yeah.
But to slice the most kiwis in 1 minute with the samurai sword while standing on a Swiss ball, that's probably only going to take a few months.
What was the harder part of that? Was it standing on the ball or slicing the kiwi?
The standing on the Swiss ball is the tough part there, because it's literally an exercise ball, and you can like sit on them and you kind of wobble around, but this is standing on a high center of balance, and I almost broke my toe a couple times because I'm standing against the wall, and then I just get a little bit off and then my foot shoots to the side and runs into the wall, and so standing on that is difficult. And then when I'm slicing, I've got the weight in my hand, I'm bouncing up and down. And it's probably one of the most dangerous records I've done too, because if I fall off the ball, which is a real risk, I'm holding the sword. And if it happens to land handle down, it could impale me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Here's a good question. When you were doing the running blindfold, how did that start? Did you start on a treadmill walking, or did you just start walking outside? Because I can't imagine you just put a blindfold on, started running, and you had to practice running with a blindfold.
Yeah, so that starts with just running while juggling, and running while juggling is actually easier than walking while juggling, because the natural cadence of the arm swinging matches the natural cadence of wanting to throw the balls, and so it's one throw per step. And so I just run and juggle, and I do it long enough, I can just run and juggle, and while I'm running and juggling, I just start closing my eyes and get in the zone. And obviously, I don't start with the blindfold on. I start by just practicing, closing my eyes for 1, 2, 5 steps, 20, 30 steps. And then when you get over about 40 steps, there's very few places you can do it without opening your eyes. And so anything over that, I needed to have a guide to tell me, stop, you're about to kill yourself.
Yeah. And then were you doing this, did you practice in your neighborhood where your neighbors looking out the window, what's this guy doing? Or
yeah, so for the blindfolded juggling, it looks a lot like running while juggling to somebody, unless they're paying close attention to your eyes. But yeah, a lot of the records that I do practice for, I get some strange looks. And I met the neighbor right across the street from me, saw me juggling bowling balls in my front yard and then riding a unicycle around. He's like, I got to meet this guy. He's crazy. And he's ended up becoming one of my best friends. And we quarantined together during the pandemic. And we've broken over 25 records now together.
That's pretty cool.
That is sick. Yeah, I was surprised to hear that, because like you said, when you think world records, you think Guinness. And so I'm thinking, like, I've had the book. Like, everybody's had the book at some point. And you're looking through there, and like you said, there's a lot, but there's not as many as, like, you would think would be out there. So it makes sense that there's other world record, I guess, what would you call that?
Well, all the ones I do, clarify, are Guinness World Records, and they're official Guinness World Records on the Guinness World Records website.
So the book has about
the website. The book has about 10% of them published, and then the website has the rest.
Okay, so I guess we'll catch you up to date with how we got involved on your page. We do a segment on this podcast called Slumping and Streaking. So we'll pick somebody throughout the week who's streaking and somebody throughout the week who's slumping. And Schnelly found you and was talking about your streaking. You've broken 150 world records. You've done all this stuff. And so I was like, 150? So we start looking through some of the records that you've broken. And I had no idea that Guinness had this back record of all these records. And I'm sitting here thinking, he's just making these up. He's just making these up and completing them. And so we had this vendetta. And you got to understand, we're rehabbers. So we're rehabbing injury, and we have so much time on our hands. So we were extremely, extremely bored. And we were like, we're going to break some of his records. So we're like looking through some of the records we think like we might have a chance at breaking. And we noticed like juggling is clearly your strength. And we weren't going to be any of the juggling ones for sure. So you mentioned the first one blindfolded, and me and Schnelly were smiling at each other because one of the first ones he claimed he could break was juggling blindfolded. And I was like, there's absolutely no way. There's absolutely no chance. And so he's like, yeah, I can do it. So we throw the blindfold on him, and he doesn't catch one ball. Not only did he not go for the full 30, he didn't catch one ball. So do you ever have people ask you that? Like, you just make up these records? Or kind of like I did? Do you get that a lot?
So out of the 200 plus I've broken, I've probably created the Guinness application for maybe a dozen of them. Okay. So almost all of them again are existing records, and the ones I create them for are generally, may exist in some other capacity. Like the world's slowest juggling when I created the Guinness World Records title is the fewest juggling catches in 1 minute. So there's records for the most juggling catches a minute, the most with 5 balls in 1 minute. And I was like, okay, the juggling community recognizes this fewest juggling catches in 1 minute. And so I created the Guinness application. I said, this is what the juggling community has. And Guinness approved it as a new records category. And so that's when I created, broke the existing record. And it was an inaugural record for Guinness.
Okay. So
same thing with the fastest mile run while juggling blindfolded. That one didn't exist before, but I created that one and Guinness accepted it.
Okay, cool. So you can kind of like, do you like message them and be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Is this be accepted if I do it? Do they give you like a time you got to do it in, or is it just kind of complete?
Yeah, it's all through the website. You can create an application at GuinnessWorldRecords.com, and then you do a record application search, and if they're at the bottom, it's like, hey, if none of these records fit what you're looking for, you can create your own application. You pay some nominal fee, like $5, and then they'll review it and say, yes, this meets the category. And they have a whole website published of what makes a Guinness World Record. And there's 6 guidelines about what makes a Guinness World Record. Like, it's got to be a non-arbitrary. So it's like 1 minute or 1 minute is kind of the standard for most juggling catches or fewer juggling catches. They're not doing a 30-second one or a 5-minute one. It's 1 minute basically. And it's got to be beatable. So is it quantifiable and beatable? So can somebody break it? And then it's got to have rules associated with it that are non-arbitrary as well.
Gotcha. So which one would you go back and say, this was the hardest one I've ever done?
So there's a couple. The hardest ones are the ones that I'm also the most proud of, the ones that I've spent the most time on. And there's probably 2 or 3, including the world's fastest juggling, the most juggling catches in 1 minute. And that's what I'm super, super proud of, because it's one I didn't think I would be able to break. That's back when I had that fixed mindset. I'm a juggler, but there's thousands of professional jugglers out there that are way better juggling at me. There's no way that I could ever become the world's fastest juggler. And so I practiced for it. And, frankly, I didn't get all that much better. But then after I really dug into this growth mindset if you believe you can do it, you can do it. And so when I practiced with that growth mindset, I said, I am going to break this world record. A funny thing happened. I started practicing and I got better, and I got better faster. And the more I believed, the faster I got better. And so the original record was 422 catches in a minute when I went to practice for it. And I think in 2016, I broke it with 428 catches in a minute. I became the world's fastest juggler. And then, a year later, someone else broke the record and they got 502 catches in a minute. And I was like, man, I thought 428 was hard. And so I went back and I practiced again. And this time I got 556 catches in a minute. Somebody else broke with 558. And now I'm the current record holder at 586 catches in a minute. It's almost 10 catches per second when I originally thought that 7 would be impossible.
So would you say that's also your most competitive record? Is that the one you've had to go back and forth the most?
Yeah, it's in terms of difficulty level and competitiveness. Yeah, it's right up there. And then the others are the world's fastest running while juggling blindfolded. So the fastest mile running while juggling blindfolded, and the fastest 100-meter dash juggling blindfolded. Those are like the top 3.
So do you think that is there a Guinness World Record Hall of Fame? Because if so, you have to be like first ballot unanimous, first guy in there, right?
That's not a term I've heard of. Guinness refers to in that community as serial record breakers, though, that break a bunch of records. There's a small community of us serial record breakers, and we kind of know who we are, and we say hi occasionally on the social media.
Nice. Do you have the most?
I do not. I think in terms of there's the most. There's records broken, and the only one that Guinness tracks unofficially is those that are currently held. So you've broken them; they've been approved by Guinness, and they have not been broken by somebody else. And I think I'm number 3 on that list right now.
Okay. That's so when, like you said, you knew somebody broke your fastest juggling, so you went back and did it. If someone breaks one of your records, do you instantly go back and retry to do it again?
Not usually. In fact, when somebody breaks my records, I don't get any notification. The only way I find out is if I log back into the system and go find that application, I can see it there. But normally I find out when I see it on like a YouTube video from Guinness that comes out, it's published in the book, or something shows up on the website or the news. I'm like, oh man, somebody broke one of my records, and then I'll go back and verify it, and then I'll try to go back and break it again.
Oh, that's lame. There should definitely be a notification if one of your records have got broken. Like, you got to have a chance at a rebuttal there at least.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to go proactively search them all out.
Right.
And I have so many open and so many that I currently hold, it's hard to keep track.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a lot to keep track. So we mentioned that we wanted to find one that we could break. And this was the same day that Schnell said that he could break the world record of juggling blindfolded and failed miserably. So then he claims that he could break the fastest 100-meter dash blindfolded one. And you said it yourself on the video that I watched. You said, I don't know how hard this one is. The tricky part is staying inside the lane.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the juggling version's hard. Just staying in the lane is got to be a lot easier.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we set out to the track, and this is what we came up with.
This is unofficial.
14:22. Very unofficial.
We thought this was going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be.
That was the time. A daunting time set by the world record champion himself, David Rush.
Who's the best man for the job? Who's going to get it done? This is going to be a little bit harder than we thought. I took a test run. After a lot of thought, we decided that man should be me.
I was behind him 100%.
David Rush, I'm coming for you.
Honestly, timing was harder than I thought.
You're good.
I did it.
Let's go! We're officially, it's upside down. We're world record holders. Schnell, how do you feel? Let's go.
I told you, David Rush. I got your ass.
Is this a sensation you never felt before?
Never. I mean, I've hit some clutch home.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh, nice work. You know, we both got similar last names. Mine's Rush, obviously, and yours is Fast in German. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we got a connection going. There you go.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was one of the only ones that we thought we had a chance on. And like we said, it was very unofficial. I screwed up the timing the first time. I thought I could because I was videoing from the front too. So I thought I could hold the timer and backpedal as he came, but he was going a lot faster than I anticipated him running blindfolded. So I messed up the first one. We ran it back. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And they didn't tell me when I finished and I crossed the finish line, so I kept sprinting. I almost ran into the fence.
Yeah.
How did you even stay in your lane though? You only did that twice.
It was incredible.
Twice?
Yeah,
I just literally tried to think and pick up my leg and just put it straight down. Like instead, you know how when you I think of my legs like as two. I try to run in like the same spot and just pick up and put down right in front of me.
No, I seriously thought that was going to be harder because we had a guy behind him was supposed to tell him like left, right, but he just took off. Like the first time test run, he stayed in the middle of the lane, and I was like, well, if he can do that, he could probably get the time.
I think the guy who was behind me told me like once or twice, like a little bit to like right and then a little bit to your left. I think he told me like twice, and it was kind of at the beginning, and then I got a good feel for it, and then just kept going.
Yeah, that's impressive because I really had struggled staying in the lane. Like it's usually 2 steps and I was out. And then you were running awfully close to the fence. I wouldn't have been comfortable enough like 2 lanes away from the fence because literally it's like 2 steps I'm out and then 2 more steps I'm into the fence if I'm going.
Well, I think we picked that lane because the other 3 might have had like some sand or water in it, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna slip.
Yeah. So no, I didn't even want to run with the blindfold on. I don't think I'm athletic enough to do that because I've like some of the things in the past you do like blindfolded, even like games back in school or something. Like I was off balance as it is, so I was surprised he picked it up and just took off straight. Because I knew that's what you mentioned in the YouTube video that we watched.
Yeah, we watched your video of you doing it multiple times to try and get a feel for it. But
well, congratulations.
Unofficially, thank you.
One that I think my favorite one that you broke, and I've mentioned the Kiwi one, but one that we thought that when we read it, like just on the list of world records that you had, we read it, most ping pong balls caught on your head with shaving cream. We're like, oh, we can try that. But then we pulled up the YouTube video, and it's like you had like an old Egyptian crown on of shaving cream. I couldn't believe it. How many cans was that?
So when you talk about competitive records, that might be the most competitive record that we have right now in terms of other people that have tried it, going back and forth, the number of ties. The Guinness regulations, you're only allowed to use 1 can of shaving cream, and it's got to be a relatively small size. So it's 1 can of shaving cream. So you have to wear a swim cap and then 1 can of shaving cream. And we probably, shaped it on the head. Takes 15 or 20 minutes to get right shape. A bowl is probably the best, most effective way, and that's one we've done 3 times, I believe, and we've attempted it. I want to say 40 times. So we've gone through 40 cans of shaving cream attempting that one over the years because we thought, hey, this will be a piece of cake, and then it just you got to get the ball in the shaving foam. It's got to stick there, and then you got to get them all to stick. And so once you got 10 or 15 on, then they start hitting the other balls and bouncing off. You're like, well, how do we get this to work? And then there's some rules clarifications, and then it went back and forth. And Dude Perfect once had it, and then we took it from Dude Perfect, and then somebody else took it from us, and then we got it back, and then somebody else took it, and now I think we're the current record holders on that one. And it's something like 30 some in 30 seconds in one person's head, and we switched back and forth who's the thrower and who has the shaving foam between Jonathan and I. So that one we've been through a lot of shaving foam on that one.
The one that I think, and it looked like to me like you were getting frustrated with, was the toilet paper, balancing that on your head. What was it, 100 rolls?
101 rolls of toilet paper balanced in the forehead. Yeah.
That one looked like I would be like, you held it together pretty good.
We don't have the patience for that. That's for sure.
No.
That one was a multi-week effort too, as well. And I started, right, it was during the pandemic. And so it was, after the toilet paper shortage was over, I went to Costco and bought, 3 of those giant rolls, and I'm stacking them up and they're really sturdy. But the problem with the Costco rolls is they're really heavy. And so once I got to about 80 or so of those rolls, it's like 30 or 40 pounds balanced on a single roll, and it kept collapsing, and it was super heavy. And then so I stacked hundreds of toilet paper rolls and finally gave up on those and found some other cheaper ones that were smaller, but they're not as sturdy. And so you had even more precise when you balance them. And so I stack 100 on top of it. And I do a narrow tower, a tall tower, or inverse pyramid, and then a normal pyramid on top of that. Went through so many various. I literally stacked thousands and thousands of rolls of toilet paper When I finally got it, it was so satisfying because that one took forever.
Yeah, I can imagine that was a giant stack too. I have another question about the shaving cream. Was the hardest part being the thrower, or were you actually moving your head trying to catch them?
So the throwing is really important. And the hardest part is actually figuring out it's the throwing. What really got us over the edge the last time is I just took ping pong balls instead of a bucket, and I just practiced throwing ping pong balls into that bucket for hours until I got the throwing down where I could nail it. Where do I want the ping pong ball to land on his head in the shaving foam, and then getting the shaving foam set up just right, and then doing that rapid fire, being able to throw more than one ping pong ball per second accurately in the end.
Gotcha. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun, obviously. And we did want to mention, though, that if you're ever in the South and need some people to help you break a record, we're the men for the job for sure.
You bet. Well, what's the city you in?
I'm from Georgia, and Schnell is from Indiana, but we play for the Rays, so we're in Florida currently.
All right. Well, keep that in mind. We love visiting national parks. My wife and I have been to, well, actually, our 6-year-old has now been to 39 of the 63 national parks. So I think we're headed down towards Smoky Mountain at some point.
Yeah,
we already hit like Everglades and Key Biscayne not too long ago.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool. Cole, Schnelly, it's been fun chatting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, have a good one, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, you take care. Good luck with the rehab, and good luck.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.